Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the ANZCAR Cup Series Daytona 500, and we're in for an awesome day of racing, that's for sure. Before we get into it though, your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie. We have Gary and Brad joining us today, and Brad and Gary, welcome aboard. It's going to be an awesome day of racing.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well, definitely. Thanks for inviting. Hopefully we do you well.
Yeah, the guys are out there at the moment completing their warm-up by the looks of it, and then we're going to go into qualifying before the race, and of course single qualifying, but we'll try and cover that off the best we can for the viewers out there.
Yeah, Brad, the practice speeds look a little okay, but I think they're going to speed up in races. These cars get 3, 4, 5 deep, side by side. I think you're going to see about a second faster.
Oh yeah, easily a second or more faster. I haven't seen very many groups heading out there. I think these guys are kind of working on solo passes, maybe for some qualifying runs here, Gary. But I haven't really seen any nose-to-tail practice in this little warm-up session here.
Yeah, I've seen a couple out there just trying to get into the draft. Hopefully we won't see too much of that bump drafting, because even on Thursday night we saw a few guys come unstuck. We saw it in the pre-race, preview race, the same sort of thing. So we'll see how the boys go tonight. We can see out there at the moment the number 24 and the 75 there practicing. 75, that's Darren McKenzie.
And Daniel G, he won the Xfinity Cup, so these guys are no strangers to the drafting here this week, especially.
Yeah, that's right, and Danny G will be out there just having a look. He's out there again. He's no doubt going into this with a bit of momentum. Different car, but generally once you take a win, it has a tendency to lift your spirits, and normally a win could possibly follow with another win.
It does. Sometimes it does. You have the momentum. Your team has the momentum, and don't forget the knowledge of having that car and having the car set up. Even though the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars are different, there's still a similarity in how these things can set up based on the car. So, and it's not like he led the whole race. You know, he was able to work the draft. He went to the back. He went to the front. Inevitably, last lap came around. He was the one who took the checker flag, and that's how you got to do it to win.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you didn't see that coverage, folks, of the Xfinity race, head on over to our YouTube channel tomorrow, and you can see the full race coverage there. But we're here for the Daytona 500 today, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We'll have a look at our weather, and you can see exactly what it's like. So the air temp out there, 78 degrees Fahrenheit, wind directions coming in from the southeast. Wind speed 6.93 miles an hour with humidity 56%. Overcast conditions out there. So Gary, how do you think that's going to affect the way they approach this race?
Right now, not too bad, because they're going to be huddled up in the draft, and I don't think it's going to be too much of an effect. I think once the race goes on, and the big one happens that everybody waits for, and the crowd gets smaller, then I think the weather changes, the wind, the track temperature, the ambient temperature, all that will actually come into play towards the end of the race. These guys are going to be wore out. It's going to be 3.5, 4 hours of a race. They're going to be well into going, God, when is this thing going to be over? Holding onto the wheel with both hands, white knuckle, and the weather is just going to be a variable that's going to hit them without them even knowing about it. It's just going to do weird things to the car, and you know, it could make things worse, or it could make things good. It goes either way. Brad, what do you think?
I think a big factor that could come to play is if any of this cloud cover does start to break off, that track starts to get warm, these cars are going to move around a lot more. They're not going to have that nice drippy track for them. They're just going to start sliding around, and that leads to the inevitable bump and possibly the crashes. I would hate to see that tonight, but it very well could happen there, Bernie.
Yeah, it definitely could. We saw that, as I was saying, Xfinity. That race was absolutely fantastic. It was turned on its head about 3 times, and a lot of the incidents were caused by that inevitable bump. But these guys, they race so close together at such high speeds. It's going to happen.
Yeah, these guys are going to be about 20 to 40 miles an hour faster. They're going to be hitting 210 down the backstretch and roughly that around the front stretch through the tri-oval. So they're definitely going to be going faster. These guys are going to have to pay a lot more attention when they go into the corners drafting a guy, because if you do touch these guys going into draft at 210 miles an hour, it's just going to send that guy into a loop. They take the aerodynamics off the rear of these cars, and they just start to do a dance, and they're real hard to control and come back from. And we saw a lot of that going into turn 3 on the Xfinity race. Guys were right up on the tail going down the backstretch, and they didn't back off, or the car in front just wasn't ready to catch it, and it caused havoc for quite a few guys, and a couple in the tri-oval. So tonight's going to be faster paced, but I think these guys can do it. I think they're ready for it. They've been doing this all week. They've been practicing these cars, running these cars. They've ran 2 races with the trucks and the Xfinity. I think they're ready for it. I think they're ready for it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been like real world. They've had a week of Daytona and various series running around here. They had pre-race practice in these cars, and it's really been building up since last Sunday, I think it was. And the guys are definitely ready for it. We can see Josh Micklemore out there at the moment in the number 2. He's going to look at wanting to have a better race on Thursday night, because he got into a bit of trouble out there with a few incidents later in the race.
Yeah, he did. But he's going to be strong. Hopefully, he doesn't get any incidences this time. Last week has not been his week. Maybe this could change everything around. And who knows? He could very well be a victor here. Definitely has a chance. Brad, what do you think?
I think that's the beauty of Daytona. You could, even the first 2/3 of this race, you can be having just a crap day running around the back. Something big happens up front, or you just suddenly find that groove. You can go from dead last to first and winning this race within the last quarter of this race. It's actually an extremely cool thing about Daytona that happens a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to throw a curveball. We can see now the boys and should be coming out for qualifying. The first one out is Sam Deventia in the number 95. He's going to come out and do his hot lap, and we'll see what he can do as far as times. And a few of the other guys are coming out now as well.
Yeah, there'll be a couple. There should be guys going out on the track. In iRacing, it's a closed qualifying session, which means these guys can go out simultaneously, and one car will not affect another car as they go out. So they can all run their own laps. And in a few other titles that we all used to play, you could actually, if you knew a car was there, you could actually gain a little bit just by running off an invisible draft. Well, iRacing has figured that out, and they can run these guys. So all the guys that are running tonight can go out at the same time, qualify in 10 minutes, no problem, and get it done.
Well, at the moment, we can see Sam, he's started his qualifying lap in the number 95. We'll see how he goes. The last lap for Phil Otto was also out there, and he did a 1:14. But this is, we'll see how Sam Deventia goes here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try to take the low line as the fast line approach on this one, which is a very good tactic. Low line is obviously the shortest distance around here. A lot of guys will actually even try to run their first lap up high, though, try to get more speed. But it seems like he's coming around the first lap here, seeing what he can get out of that car, Gary.
Yeah, some guys, they do like to 48.6, which is not bad for a first lap, but I don't think he's going to be able to pick up that much if he was running an inside groove the whole time around. But yeah, the outside line gives you more time to pick up speed, gather your speed, because these things are so low geared in the rear for the final gear. We got Steve Hoppett just pulled a 47.8. Edward Foster 48.5. So these guys are getting their times down, and it's the second lap that's going to count. This is going to be the faster lap of them all.
Yeah, well, that's right. And of course, Steve Hoppett, he was featured on our Facebook page today. He's come out with a very special livery just for this race in the number 81. You can see him on the screen there, and that car's beautifully presented. One thing I was amazed at, though, is when you check out these next-gen cars, have a look at how much clearance there is on the bottom of them. They're pretty much right down low and as low as they can get.
Yeah, they want to keep these things as low to the track as possible, and that way the air goes up and over instead of up underneath, because you want the air to go over the car and create downforce. And these Cup cars have about, roughly, give or take a few, 1,500 foot-pounds of downforce on these cars. You don't want anything underneath that car, because then that creates lift. And when you're traveling at, by themselves, they'll go 190 miles an hour. Airplane only requires 173 miles per hour to create lift, to come off the ground. So these guys, they want to stay planted on the ground. NASCAR, iRacing, they really figured out the aerodynamics of these cars, creating 1,500 foot-pounds of downforce on these cars to keep them tucked to the ground. So just sitting there, you'll see a bit of a gap between the spoiler, the front spoiler, and the track. But once these cars get up to full song, they'll be sitting there squat full on the track with nothing. You couldn't fit a playing car now.
Yeah, so your top three at the moment, Danny G, he just went to the top of the sheet with a 47.55. Matt Danson, he's on screen at the moment in the 28, folks. He did a 47.6, and he's just been pushed down by the 28 of Tony Brent. So the times are really plummeting here at Daytona. They've got 5 more minutes to go. We still haven't seen Danny Stevens come out, and nor Matthew Raymond. Shannon Mason still to take to the track, and Bruce Smith.
They're probably waiting for the track to get a little rubbered up, give them a little bit more stick in the turns. If the car doesn't wander up a little bit due to any kind of traction, which will scrub off speed. So if they're waiting for the track to rubber up a little bit, and that way they can hold that yellow line. Brad, what do you think about that 47.4 of Josh Mickelmore?
I think that is going to be a dangerously hard one to beat there. I was kind of monitoring him while he was doing that lap. He was very, very low on the track, even scraping a little bit on that yellow line there. He did a very nice job keeping it low, keeping it fast, not making any silly mistakes. I enjoyed watching his laps, honestly, Gary.
Yep, that's what it's going to take to win this qualifying round. Looks like Josh Mickelmore is going to be the car to beat, though. Bernie, there's only a few cars left: Bruce Smith, Matthew Raymond, and Daniel Stevens. Thomas Hins doesn't have any practice times on the board. I don't know if they were having problems in the garage or what. Do you have any idea what was going on with them?
No, I've got no idea at the moment, but one notable at the moment is Norman Clark. He has actually made it to the track tonight. He started with a bit of a bad omen this morning, went to do some practice, and his steering wheel failed, and he madly started pulling it apart, trying to work out what the glitch was. I think he ended up having to borrow a wheel off his son so he could make the grade this afternoon. But tell you what, you don't want to go into a big race with something like that happens. It can really start to mess with your head, Brad.
It could. Hopefully, I've seen Norman around along with his son Roger. They tend to react very quickly to those things. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, because from what I hear, he just went from a 27 to a 29. Not too big of a hardware difference. I think he'll be able to blow it off, and he'll be up to par, no problem at all, Gary.
Yeah, these two are a crack up, and it is one of those gremlins. This is Roger Clark's big moment. ANZCAR as they go to do their inaugural full 100% 500-mile race at Daytona, and it's only Murphy's Law for something to go wrong like that. And Norman's his father, and he really looks up to him, and for that to happen, and it's just one of those things, man. And that could say if they come back and they fight and they win this, and he doesn't get tied up in the big one, it's definitely going to be a big night for those two.
Yeah, we just saw Denny Stevens there. He's completed his quali, or his first flying lap here in the number 66, straight up to third position for the number 66, as I said. And but look at those times. They're separated by tenths of seconds in the top three there, and that's going to bode well to some good hard racing once again today.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with qualifying, it is an all-out war on your setup, how you handle that car, how steady you can. So with these guys, you're looking at the top 10 within 0.2 of a second. That's pretty fast. I mean, 11th place isn't but 1/1000th of a second out of that. So it goes to show these guys have been working hard, they've been working long. You've got 47.9 way down in 22nd place with Phil Otto. I don't think he's going to worry about that, because as the legend once said at Daytona, qualifying is just a starting position. It's where you finish at the end of the race that counts. So granted, you want to be out there up front. You don't want to be in the back and get collected up in that big one. That is inevitably to happen at every Daytona race. Online, real life, it doesn't matter. It happens because these cars get dicey. These cars get moving around. People get antsy, and it happens. So, Brad, when you're looking at a 47.3 at the top spot and a 48.4 sitting back there in 24th place, what's your mindset if you're sitting back there with Darren O'Brien? Are you going to try and work with him and try and get him up to the front, or what do you think you're going to do with sitting back there at a 48, considering your pole sitting there is just a second ahead of you?
Honestly, when it comes to especially Daytona and tracks like this, if I'm sitting in the back of the field back there, I'm going to take it easy for the first little bit of this race and see what the front pack does. If that front pack being so close together and so fast, it has the potential to be a dangerous zone. So I would just run my race, keep an eye on what's going up front, but I really wouldn't push it in the first part of this race. 500 miles is a long time. I mean, like you said, you're looking at 3.5, 4 hour race here. No sense in going out there right off the bat and just beating on it, Gary.
Yeah, but if you're not up front, you can't take it. It looks like they're going to grid. Bernie, why don't you take these guys to grid?
Yeah, so let's have a look at the way the grid is. So on the front row today, folks, we've got Josh Mickelmore. He'll start down low in the number 2. He's joined by Jason Martin in the number 21 on the outside. Let's go to the second row now. So Bruce Smith in the number 18 will start down low. He's joined on the grid by Danny Stevens in the number 66. Row 3 today, Danny G in the number 24. He is going to be joined on the grid by Tony Brent in the number 28. Looking back here at row 4, we've got Mark Cohen in the 51 and Matthew Raymond in the 83. Going further down, row 5, Matt Danson in the number 30. He's joined on the grid by Norman Clark in the 16. And then row 6 tonight, the number 81 of Steve Hoppett and the 09 of Roger Clark. Looking further back to row 7, we've got Dwan Priest in the 777, Edward Foster in the 53. In row 8 tonight, we have Dave Douglas in the number 10, and he's joined on the grid by Jason Nicholas in the number 72. Riley Curtis, he'll start out of row 9 in the 93, and David Webb 4, he'll start beside him in the number 12. Looking back here at row 10, Darren McKenzie in the 75 is joined with Shannon Mason in the 55, and then further back in row 11, we have Matthew Clowett and Phil Otto in the number 7. Row 12 tonight, Sam DeVentia in the 95 and Darren O'Brien in the 27. Looking further back to row 13, well, that looks like that's the end of our grid. But one thing, Riley DeVentia, he's basically said, he's spoken to Sam, and Sam DeVentia is ready for the race.
I hope so, because he's got a long ways to go from all the way back there in the 23rd spot. But like I said, anything can happen. 500 miles. It could be over for a couple of these guys here in the next 2.5 miles, Brad. And everything they've been practicing for, the truck race, the Xfinity race, man, it could just get wound up right here. Off they go.
I would hate to see that, to be honest with you, and I really doubt we will see that with these guys. Just watching them in the past week, the starts really haven't been that chaotic with these guys. I think we'll get at least 10, 20 laps in before we see any real aggressive driving. But like you said, this is Daytona. This is the 500. Everybody's got that on their mind. Everybody's thinking 500 miles, let's get this thing done and over with, so anything can happen there, Jerry.
Yeah, then you've got, and these guys have been racing together. The Australian guys, they've all been racing the trucks and the Xfinity Cup, and then you go and throw an American, number 51 of Mark Cohn, hailing out of California, Napa, California, United States. He's pretty much up front, qualifying up in there. What did he qualify up there? The 7th spot. So I can only imagine his nerves right now, being in the middle of basically an entire team. What do you think, Bernie? American's going to be able to handle it up there up front?
Well, I reckon if anyone can, it's him. But I tell you what, some of these Aussie New Zealanders, they know their NASCAR racing. The other thing I'd like to say is these boys will be feeling the pressure because this is the inaugural Daytona 500 for ANZCAR, and whoever gets this, they'll be entering into the record books. But safety cars down now. Josh Micklemore will have the lead. He goes. Jason Martin on the outside is joining him. And here we go, folks. Daytona 500, 200 laps. Hold on to your hats.
It looks like a very good start from these guys. Very even start. Josh looking down there on the low line, getting everything squared away there for him. Past we've seen the low line be the fast line here. We will have to see how that plays out now as this high line is getting a heck of a run there.
Yeah, but Josh might hold it. He knows what he's doing. He did this a couple weeks ago with that 66 car. That 66 car looks like he's coming up. Daniel Stevens looks like he really wants to take that lead of that first lap. This first lap coming around. Who's going to lead the first lap on the inaugural 500 for ANZCAR? It's going to be really close. And it looks like it's going to be, oh, that's a photo finish. That could very well be 66 car.
Yeah, I think 66 car there, Gary. It may be by the splitter at most there, Bernie.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the telemetry as I came across there. Daniel Stevens. Oh, Daniel's flashing. We don't want to see that. He's gone up high. And that was close with the 28 there of Tony Brent. I tell you what, when you're doing these speeds and a car starts flashing in and out in front of you, you've got to sort of worry, don't you?
Yeah, you just hold your line and hope the guy in front of you doesn't back out of it. And he comes back in. When he blinks back in in your cockpit. Most of these guys, I'm pretty sure all these guys know when they start blinking, just keep your foot in it and hold your line, race your line like you've been racing. It looks like Daniel Stevens is getting shuffled to the back there.
Yeah, well, Tony Brent, he was up behind that car that started flashing, and as soon as he got on the straight and there was an opening, he's jumped to the low line. The low line's now coming in by the looks of it. We've got Daniel Stevens up there. He's got a couple of dancing partners, but nowhere near enough to keep up with this train.
Yeah. Tony didn't look like he wanted any part of that blinking, boy. As soon as he could, he got out of there and he found a hole in the low line behind the 18 car of Bruce. So, yeah, it's going to get dicey. It's going to get tricky. And here we come around again. These guys, they're going to make it happen. And for lap 2, here we go.
I think at this point it's just time to get in a groove, log some laps. I mean, you're 2 of 200 here. No sense in making it crazy yet. As I say that, the 88 goes up the hill there.
And further back in the pack here, we're having a look, and I've just lost my lights here, folks, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I've got power, so we're fine, but Norman Clark at the moment in the number 11. He's got his head down, back up on that high line. He's got his son behind him in the 09 and Steve Hoppett in the 81 below him.
Yeah, those guys, they've raced together before, and they race together good. Middle finger racing, they know what they're doing, and they're talking amongst each other. Looks like back in the back, the number 12 car, David Webb, seems to be having a little bit of a connection issue, and also the 98 car, Steve Williams, has fallen off the pack, and he has kind of lost everything, and he's almost a half a straightaway behind everybody. So not sure what's happening with him, but hopefully we don't lose Dave to a connection issue, but he seems to be falling away from the pack slowly.
Yeah, and the other ones, as you were saying, is Stephen Williams in the 98-26. He is miles behind the field. Not sure what's happened to him, but tell you what, once you get out of that slipstream, you're going to be in a lot of trouble around here.
Yeah, it takes a bunch to get back to it. Hopefully these guys can either, those guys will be able to catch up, not get a lap down. If there's a caution, let's hope there's not, but if there's a caution, they'll be able to catch up to the field and get into the garage and see what's wrong. But we've still got 2 wide racing back there with Daniel Stevens. Boy, he is not giving up that high line. He's not going low for anything. He still looks like he's going to try to make it work with the 83. Brad, what do you think? You think that's going to work for him?
I don't know that it's going to work per se right now. Personally, I just don't think they've even had a chance to get them low. That low line is tucked up nice and tight to each other, and they're saying, we're going, see you later kind of deal there. There are about 5 cars on that outside lane still trying to make it work, and honestly, that's the only way it's going to come in. Put more rubber up there to get them going. More rubber means more speed, and we'll get some good, hard 2-wide racing here in the later parts of this. I'm really enjoying the fact that nobody's making any silly moves yet, Gary.
Well, it's still early in the race. These guys, they don't really make silly moves. I think the last time we saw these guys in the Xfinity race, there were no silly moves. These guys knew exactly where they put the car. I think it was a matter of how the physics and the aerodynamics were set up for iRacing on that middle car. You're basically just along for the ride. You can't see in front of you. You can't see behind you. We got a couple cars blinking back there in and out, so hopefully we'll lose any connections with these guys up front. They look solid, and that 66 car of Daniel Stevens is not going up that outside. 83 is right there behind them, and they're not losing a whole lot of positions. They seem to gain it and lose it, gain it, lose it. They're still right behind the 5 singled out cars there. So I think, like you said, they're going to create a groove up there, and as the race progresses, that lane will pick up in speed.
And it does look like we're getting about a little bit of a separation between our top 10 and our back half of the field there. They're starting to stretch out that gap a little bit farther. I see Mark Cohen pulling it up in there to the bottom lane now. He was trying to pull up behind that 83 car for a little bit. Looks like he's committed down to the bottom. Do you think we'll see 2 distinct packs, or do you think they'll try to get this straightened out and back into one big pack, Gary?
I think when there's about 20 laps to go, you'll see 2 distinct packs. You'll see 2 distinct packs side by side, each going for position, and they know it's go time. So right now they're working on it. We just want to be up front. You can't win it if you're not up front. So that's definitely the place to be. And right now it's just so clean. I almost envy that I'm not in there. I mean, I enjoy being where I'm being, but the 83 and the 66 just look like they changed positions.
That was a very smooth transition because I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't even catch it.
No, they didn't. I'm sorry. That was my bad. The 30 of Matt decided to go outside and catch Daniel. I'm sorry.
Yes, at the moment, folks, your top 5 is Josh Mickelmore. He is leading. We've got Jason Martin there in the number 21, tucked up behind him. In the 18, we've got Bruce Smith. Keep an eye on him tonight. Tony Brent, 4th. And rounding out your top 5 is the number 30, and that's Matt Danson.
Looks like the 83 car there, Matthew Raymond, might have lost that front pack there, Gary. I apologize. 777. I was looking at the wrong car.
Yeah, that's Dwayne Priest. He's just off the back of that pack. No doubt he's going to get sucked into that pack right behind them. And I guess that's his saving grace, isn't it?
His saving grace is that 53 car to get up behind him, or Edward Foster. He's got 4 cars behind him, but I don't know. To me, it looks like he should try and pick up Mark Cohen and see if he could suck up to Mark. Mark being that back in the pack there and in 9th place.
And that's we can see Edward Foster there. He's got Dave Douglas right behind him, Riley Curtis. Those guys were very, very strong in the Xfinity race, that's for sure, in early days here. But if all goes well, I'd expect Dave and Riley to be up there fighting for the win here tonight.
Oh, it looks like we got a caution on the speedway here. I did not catch what was going on. I was just going to say, check out that 18 car trying to make it racy up here.
Yeah, that's Bruce Smith up there, and you're right, we have got a caution out. I can't see what's brought out that caution, though. Could be Steve Hoppett. It is Steve Hoppett in the number 81. Well, there goes that beautiful paint job he's got. But let's go back and have a look. There's another car limping without his rear. So I'd say there's been a lot of nose-to-tail action here as we go to the replay. We'll see what we can make up of this.
It looks like the 81 Steve Hoppett got a little loose going into the turn. Not sure what happened. As he comes down the track and collects the 7 car of Phil Otto. Phil didn't have anywhere to go, nowhere to go. Actually, just Steve Hoppett just came down out of the track and collected for Phil.
Well, actually, Gary, if you look a little bit farther back, that all started with the 75 car getting sideways there, just at the entry of turn 3.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to it. We just can't seem to pick up that replay, folks. I'll try once more, but I've tried 3 times now. But one thing's for certain, that 81's definitely all torn up, missing the front end, and the one behind it's going to also need a lot of work. That's Darren McKenzie in the 75. Here we go, folks. Pit lane is open, and we'll see who wins this race off pit road.
Yeah, the 75 car was the one that got it as a 54, got into the backup and going into turn 3, just like we had discussed before. Right at 3, got into him, sent him up into the wall, and he just bounced off just barely touched Steve, and it sent Steve into a frenzy and collected the number 7. So hopefully these guys can get it back going and get back on the track, but not a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, so looking at the race off pit road there, that was, just having a look here, I think that was won by Phil Otto, took that. Yes, he did. Matthew Clowett, he came out second. Awesome pit stops by both of these boys. 19 seconds for Matt Clowett, and then Matt Danson in the number 30, third off pit road, followed by Tony Brent, Daniel Stevens in the 66. Tell you what, Josh Micklemore, they were a bit slow. I'm not sure if it was because he had to have another stab. He came to a full stop, and then he had to roll forward slightly, so that puts him back into 6th position.
Yeah, it's not going to fare too well for him. I know he's going to be up on that wheel to get it. I don't know how well Phil Otto is going to do up front, as he was involved with that little bit of accident with Steve. So I don't know what he did to get out in front of everybody. If he even pitted, I'm not sure. Did he pit?
Yeah, he did.
I don't know. He must not have taken any tires and didn't fix any damage, because he took a pretty good hit from Steve. So I don't know if that's going to do him any good. Brad, what do you think?
Looking at that right front corner there, that doesn't look like a very happy shaped front end for me. I would be very concerned about that, because I just got a feeling he might get run over here, because it's not going to cut the air very well at all. But definitely a lot of gas and goes. I didn't see very many cars taking tires at all here at this first part there, Gary.
Nah, no need to. They've only ran 15 laps, so these tires can usually go 35, 40 laps before they even need to think about changing the right sides. So they should be good to go. But that 30 car, Matt Denson, and a 28 of Brent, they are clean as can be, and that 7 cars just sitting duck with the damage. So it could be pretty erratic on the start. Hopefully Phil Otto gets on it and gets with it, and these guys can get around them. That damage is going to hold them up. iRacing did a really good job with the damage and the aero package on these cars. Any little bit of damage on these cars, it does slow them down, Bernie. I don't know if you saw it in the Xfinity or in the truck race, but when we were testing the pickup cars, we got a little bit of damage. We lost 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened to Steve Hoppett. His words are exactly in the Xfinity race. He had a bit of a front-end damage. He said his car turned into a flying brick at about that point, and he ended up retiring. He just wasn't competitive after that.
It's a shame to see damage this early in the race as well. I mean, he's probably not going to be too happy about that. Maybe he's looking for a better. He's pulling into the pits now. He's going to get that addressed at the moment. So I think that's a very good decision, Bernie. Get that thing fixed. It's early. Got a lot of time to bring it back.
Oh, exactly right. You don't want to take risks, especially when you're starting at the front, because as you said, Gary, you know, the slight aero damage there, you do get run over by this pack as they come through, and you don't want to be a sitting duck at, 200 mile an hour, what these cars do around here.
It's actually looked like he just did a pass through. He didn't even stop in his pit stall there. He had a minor step away moment.
Yeah, I think what I saw when he went through, I think his pit crew were eating some ice cream, so they sent him out again.
Good old days of thunder.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the starting order here, folks. The number 30 of Matt Danson, he's going to lead the pack away after the safety car comes in. He's going to have on the outside of him Tony Brent. And then in the second row, Daniel Stevens in the 66. He's on the low line. We'll see how he goes there. Josh Mickelmore starting next to him on the high line. Then we've got Danny G in the 24 and Jason Martin right behind Josh Mickelmore. So expect those two to be working, and even the 18 behind him, Bruce Smith. I reckon those three are going to try and make this high line work here, Brad.
I believe they are, and I think they got a good chance of it as well. I would love to see a good old 2-wide battle here, Gary.
Yeah, Bruce doesn't like it up top, though. He hasn't been up there. He tries to get down low. He knows that high line is not working at the beginning of the race, so look for Bruce to get down on the inside. As far as here they go, they're going to green with Matt Denson taking the lead.
Yeah, some nice clean start there, 30 down low. We've got the 28, Tony Brent up high. Take a little while for him to get up to speed, but already you can see Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin really pushing that high line, hoping that that'll come in, and if they can make it work, they definitely will. But the 30 at the moment holding his own. Matt Danson down low. He's got the 66 behind him as they come up the back straight here, Gary.
Yeah, 66 was running the outside line in the first stint before the caution. He's definitely found himself up front, now running on the inside line. You got the 24 of Danny G with the 83 car of Matthew, and then look at there, right behind him is the 09 of Roger Clark. That guy just never seen. He just amazes me. I don't know. He gets up there and just sneaks up there, and boom, he's there.
Yeah, we can see a couple of the damaged cars down there now coming out. That's the 75 that was involved with that incident, folks. Darren McKenzie just below on the verge, or whatever you want to call that, and Phil Otto in the number 7. So they're coming up to speed. But check out Steve Hoppett back here in the 81. I don't know what they're going to be able to do with that, because they can't really put any 100-mile tape around that big gash.
No, I hope he can stay with the pack there. If he can stay with the pack, keep that front end tucked up underneath the back end of the car, he should be able to keep the pack. If he so much as loses it, he's going to be gone, and he'll be looking for Darren to help him catch back up, because Darren's got just so much damage, and he's running around and back. Phil Otto looks like he's going to be coming up. This guys got an extensive amount of damage. Hopefully they can keep up the speed. And it's like Norman Clark was back there as well, behind Stephen Hoppett. See what he can do.
Yeah, so Brad, what do you reckon the crew chief would be saying to Steve here at the moment? And what sort of a plan do you reckon they'd be trying to piece together, so to speak?
I think he's just going to try to tell the driver, keep it calm, keep it cool. Still a little ways to go here. Not too big of a concern at the moment. I'm sure each caution they're going to bring that thing down here. They're going to try to get that basically driving wall of a front end more aerodynamically shaped. Definitely not what they were looking for today. I think they're going to keep working on it. They're going to try to get that thing back up to the front here because they know they have a fast car. They just need the opportunity to make it faster again, Gary.
Yeah, they'll try, and hopefully iRacing does that for them. When they go into the pits, they fix a little bit at a time. Now, I'm not sure if they have the ability to shut the repair off so they can get back out and not lose the field and go a lap down sitting under caution. But yeah, I believe Steve's going to try and do the best he can do. Just keep the pedal to the floor and stay behind the car in front of you. As these guys up front, they just seem to get a 9 car breakaway here.
Yeah, so that breakaway still is being led by Matt Danson. Daniel Stevens up in the second. We saw him on the high line. He's also shown he can run that low line pretty well as well. Then we've got Danny G in the number 24 behind him. Up high though, Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin, they're really still trying to make that line work. And Bruce Smith, he's tucked right up behind that train. And they're pretty much holding their own there, Gary.
Yeah, they seem to be holding it. Looks like Matt goes up high to either catch Josh or block Josh from passing. So now it looks like Matt's going to be part of that high line. We'll see what Matt's going to do. If he's going to come down low. No. The 66 car of Daniel Stevens is going to bring that inside line up to the front. Brad, these guys are already looking like they're going to find who has in the race. What do you think?
I think they're trying to see what they got there. Curious move on the 30 part, but maybe he's just trying to feel it out for later in the race, see where he can get. Now's the time to make those kind of exploratory moves, as I would call them. See what the cars can do where, so later in the race, if you got to use it, see what the car does there. But this is a very good battle. It seems like the top group is coming in, and these cars are very evenly matched now.
Yeah, and one thing we're seeing here that we didn't see last week was basically that high line looks like it's come in pretty early in the race, and they're definitely holding their own up there compared to what we saw previously.
Yeah, and the track temperature hasn't changed a whole lot, so they still got a lot of grip going up there. And if the rubber's coming in, they're going to do it. The inside line seems to take it on the corners through 3 and 4, as the outside line seems to have the momentum and can carry the speed. So it's definitely going to be a Josh now. That 30 car seems to be just back and forth, and Josh is doing a really good job of staying right behind him and pushing him along. But they've broken away from those guys in the back. Looks like 10 car? Was it 10 car? No. Who's back there? Edward Foster, it looks like, trying to catch that lead pack.
And we're riding here with Josh Mickelmore, having a look behind him and in front of him here, folks, and you can pretty much see from the gyro cam just how much that embankment is. I don't know what that is in degrees, Gary, but you probably have a better idea than me.
33 degrees of banking here at Daytona.
That's a huge amount, isn't it? And you just see as we come off the front triangle here, triangle, and in there, folks, you can just see how much that banking is. And I guess that's pretty much, just holding those cars down on that track, and they wouldn't be lifting at all, I don't think.
No, they're not lifting. 197 miles an hour through the turns at that banking. It's going to put a lot to you on your right side, but these guys do it all the time. And after a while, the immersiveness of this game actually starts telling yourself what's going on. And from experience, about 100 miles into a race like this, your body starts to feel these effects. Your brain does this to your body. You do start to fatigue just a little bit, depending on how you have your whole setup going, your ambient temperature and your environment that you have. But your body does start to think, your brain does start to tell you what's going on in here, and you do get immersed in where you think you're in that car. iRacing has done a really good job with immersion, and so these guys, in about half race, these guys are going to start breathing hard. They're going to start getting fatigue out.
Yeah, and the other question I've got, when you're on the highway late at night, you're driving and those white lines hypnotise you. Do you get that sort of experience in these long NASCAR races?
You do if you're in the back, if you're behind somebody, because you're just focused on that car in front of you. Mainly so you don't hit them, run into them, or anything like that. So you do get kind of hypnotized, but everything is going so fast. That white line is just a solid line. The yellow line is just a solid line. You really don't see it, you really don't pay attention. And every now and then you look down at your gauges, make sure you're not overheating, make sure your oil temperature okay, your oil pressure, water pressure, everything's good, because you don't want to be stuck up behind that guy in a trance and everything overheat and you blow up your car. That will make things for a long, long night. But yeah, 200 miles an hour, not a whole lot of time to think.
Yeah, and at the moment, Danny Stevens is he's taken the lead of this race, and him and Danny G and the 83 of Matt Raymond, they're just starting to get a little bit of a gap now on the 09 of Roger Clark down there in fourth. He's bringing along with him though Tony Brent and Jason Martin in the number 6. Having a look at Josh Micklemore though, he's dropped right off the pack now, and he's down in 9th, right up the back of this pack. So I'm not sure exactly what's happened to him.
He did that last week. He led the race, and about 20 laps into it, he started going backwards. He was still up there up front. He did get collected in a late caution, but he did that last week. So he has a method to his madness, and don't count him out yet, that's for sure. Danny Stevens, he was running that outside line at the beginning of the race, the first 15 laps of the race, and here he is leading the race on the inside line. What do you think's going through his mind? What would be going through your mind?
At this point right now, I think he just went with the faster route, just probably trying to tick off some more laps here. We're coming up on 30 laps into a 200-lap race. Probably just trying to feel out where the car's comfortable and just tick laps off. One thing I'm noticing though, it seems like the cars on the high line are starting to move around a lot more. I don't know if we got a different air coming across the cars all of a sudden or what is going on, but it just seems like that high line can't keep a consistent nose to tail anymore, Gary.
Winds haven't changed, so something's going on. We are 15 laps into this pit run. They pitted on lap 15, lap 16, so we're 15 laps into it. Anything can happen at this point. These guys, they're starting to wiggle around. The tires are getting pumped up, getting heated up, and they're not getting settled. So let's see what happens. I think it could go another 15 before they have to pit. It's going to be interesting to see what they do on green flag pit stop. So Bernie, have you seen these? You saw these guys? Have they been able to do a green flag pit stop here these other 2 races?
No, they haven't actually had the opportunity to do that. They nearly got there on the Xfinity, and they were due for a green flag pit stop, but of course there was an incident which brought out the caution. So that's going to be something very interesting to watch. The other thing is when they do come in, no doubt their spotters and the pit crews will be trying to make deals to work out who they're going to pit with, because the last thing you want to do around Daytona is come in by yourself and find yourself sort of left behind by the pack.
Definitely. So these guys haven't had a whole lot of at-race practice at pitting under speed, so this is definitely going to be interesting if they get to go that far. I hope they get to go that far. And here they're going to catch up to Phil Otto, as Phil Otto is going to go another lap down. He's trying to hang to the outside, let these guys hit inside, And we're going to have a nice clean pass. Good job, Bill. Give that guy a standing O for that one.
Yeah, they've been really good, aren't they? We saw that in the Xfinity race as well. A lot of these guys, the reason I come back to that, a lot of these guys raced in it. And as the race went on, they showed very good driver awareness to stay up on that high line and let the front packs come through.
Yeah, it's a guy you can race clean, race fair. And in the event that he does have a good car at one point in the season, you can race him door to door and not have to worry about that guy. Mark Cohn seems to be moving backwards as he started in the 7th position, now finds himself back there in the 15th. Looking for somebody to draft with. Brad?
I don't know if it's a strategy play or what. We know he's got a fast car. I'm not seeing any damage on the vehicle at this time. I don't know if he's just kind of playing strategy here, staying out of the mix, keep the car clean, or what's going on there. But we know he's definitely a front-running car. He was up there already there, Gary.
Yeah, but that's not the back of this race is not the place I want to be. Even if I'm trying to figure out what's going on in a good car, in the back. Mark's been doing this for a while. He's got quite a few races under his belt, so hopefully he does know what he's doing and he can find his way back up in front. I just don't want to see a late race collect with anybody, but it's inevitable. It's always inevitable for this track. And now you've got those guys up front kind of splitting up, making a big old hole for these guys. It looks like that second pack of Bruce looks like we might be trying to catch them guys.
Yeah, well, this stint now has been going for 20 laps since the last pit stop under caution here, so not sure how long these guys can run before they're going to have to come in and pit under green.
They should be able to get about 10 to 15 more laps. Lap 35 on a tank. These things will go about 35 laps on a tank. And double that on tires. Nobody took tires at the 15. Not too many people took tires at the 15. So we'll probably see these guys come in for 2 tires and fuel. It's definitely going to change things up as that 21 car is trying to bring the 30 and Joshua to the front. Brad?
I think they got a good shot at it as well. They're definitely trying to make that high line work for them. One thing I think might help them, I don't know how well side draft works here, but if they get a little bit closer to those cars, they might get a little bit more to benefit there as they're coming up on a little bit more lap traffic up here in front of them. But I'm surprised at the fact they've been able to keep 2 wide for this long and still separate themselves now into 3 distinct packs, as we got another pack about 13 seconds behind the 2 lead packs.
That far back, as they come across Norman and Matthew as they go a lap down to the leaders, hold their outside line. All the leaders look like they get by nice and clean.
Yeah, so
the 66 car of Daniel Stevens still leading the pack.
Yeah, it might be time to give the viewers a little bit of a race summary for all those folks that have just joined us tonight. So basically, total race length 200 laps. Laps completed 36. It's been a pretty clean race out there. We've had 5 lead changes going on, and we've had 1 caution. As far as how long they were under caution for, 2 laps basically. That caution was brought out when Steve Hoppett in the 81 and the number 75 of Darren McKenzie got together and up the back of the pack, and they are now some laps down. Cars in trouble out there at the moment. Norman Clark in the number 16, as we saw, he's just gone down 1 lap. Mark Clough right behind him has also dropped a lap. Phil Otto, he's carried quite a bit of damage on the front. He's dropped 2 laps, but Darren McKenzie, he's sitting duck at the moment. He's down 6 laps.
Yeah, he was the one that took the hit and hit the wall really hard. Both ends of his car is flattened, so he's just out there running the laps, and it's just about points for him. Brad, we got some blinkers out there. That 55 car of Shannon Mason seems to have a little bit of a or blinking going on. Is that going to affect any of these guys?
I think it very well could, because as you can see, they've shuffled him to the back of that 3-car train there, probably to prevent that from causing any issues. But just simply due to that, I'm noticing every time he blinks out, they lose about a mile an hour and then gain it back when he comes in. So it is affecting that train from being able to move towards the front. And I would hate to say this, but they're already about a quarter lap down. Anymore, they're in danger of finding that lead pack coming right up on their tails.
Yeah, hopefully these guys will start pitting before that happens. I'd hate to see that. Too many more cars go a lap down and less cars in contention for the win. But as we come up on lap 40 here, these guys are probably looking at getting their pit standings set up. Which tires they're going to put on, how much fuel they're going to put on. They should put in their thinking, but what tires they're going to do, if they're going to do right sides only or left sides. And then they're going to have to start thinking to themselves to get down to that pit road speed, because you get a black flag here, you're by yourself, you're on your own, and that's a hard one to come back from.
Yeah, it
and I have
Sorry,
sorry.
Go.
I was just about to say, I've unfortunately been in that situation in the online races where I have been that lone guy that's gotten that speeding penalty, and I tell you what, it demoralizes you quickly. You basically lose all focus when it happens, and it's very hard to get back from there, Bernie.
Yeah, it certainly is. I remember the early days of it demoralised plenty of time in the old Papyrus NASCAR days, and haven't tried my hand at iRacing yet, but I'm sure the pattern would be the same as we come through lap 41 here. 28 laps of this stint now, and your top 5 at the moment, folks, is Danny Stevens in the 66. He's leading the way with Danny G right behind him, so it's a Danny and Danny show so far. Matthew Raymond in the 83 is in third. Roger Clark in the 09, sporting that beautiful black livery, is in fourth, and Tony Brent in the 28. That makes up the top 5.
Yeah, with Jason Martin and Matt Benson, they're not too far behind these guys, with Bruce Smith bringing up the end of that tail pack there. Josh McElmore's in there. Edward Foster seems to be bringing up the second pack, as those guys got a lot of catching up to do. And I imagine those guys right now are praying for a caution. There's 6 cars in that pack, but they're not gaining on those leaders at all. So I imagine those guys are like, come on, somebody step up. I know I would be. If I was leading that pack, I'd be like praying for a caution. Brad, how many times have you been in that pack, you just can't catch that front pack? You're like, come on, somebody ride.
I've been in those shoes many, many times. Not that I want to ever wish any bad will to any of my fellow racers, but at times like this, you're just like, where is that extra 10, 15 horsepower? One thing I am noticing, you do have 3 of the Riley Curtis cars in that second pack, so maybe they've got a little bit of teamwork driving up here to see if they can get up there and catch that lead back run.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I was going to ask, if you're in that back pack and you're being led out, like Edward's been leading that pack for a while, is there any impetus to ask him to step aside and give someone else a go at trying to draft up onto the front pack?
Unless they're talking to each other and think that one car can get faster than the other, there's no telling. Edward's holding a pretty good line. He's running nice and smooth, staying down low. He's running a fast line, and it looks like the outside line stepped out a little bit, so that second group looks to be catching probably by a good half a second there. As they come up on the 75 car one more time.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night for Darren McKenzie, isn't it? He's down 7 laps now, but he's not going to throw in the towel just yet. So far, no retirements from this race, so it's been a very fast-paced, clean race so far.
He's not going to give it up. I think he's going to run it till it blows. He's out there for points now, and this first race can make you or break you in points. And right now, as long as he doesn't get a DNF and he can finish, I think he'll be okay. Still a long ways to go, 45 laps. These guys should start looking at pitting from the last time they were in. We've got 30 laps on these tires right now, or actually more. 45 laps on the tires, 30 laps on the fuel cell. So these guys should be starting to figure out what they're going to do for pits. Brad, what's going through your mind when you're looking for the pits?
I'm looking at, if it were me, I'm probably going to put fuel in it. Well, obviously I'm going to put full fuel in it. I'm probably thinking right side tires, because if you're going to be down there that long for getting fuel, you might as well throw a set of right sides on it, get it back out there. Left sides really don't take that big of a beating here. And look at that second pack has caught the lead pack there.
They moved up there and got up there, caught right up to 28 car of Tony Brent. As he was falling back just a little bit. Could he have done that on purpose? Who knows? But he could also be telling his pit crew what to do and how to fix that car and make it a little faster. But they've got 47 laps now on these tires, so I'm pretty sure they're going to get 2 tires.
I know I definitely would be getting those 2 tires myself. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this green flag pit stop scenario, with them being that close. Is there going to be some form of communication between the drivers to be like, hey, I'm getting out of line here, don't run into me, kind of thing? What's your process on that there, Gary?
Yeah, they'll be letting the guys know, especially in this pack, that they're going to be pitting next time by, or next lap, or next time around. At some point before they pit, they'll let the one know behind them, one way or another. And that way they won't get railed into. Now, one thing that's different here, there is no pit limiters on these cars. They have to hold that pit speed of 60 miles per hour, and they don't get a whole lot of buffering. And when they go over that buffering, man, it's the end of the night, really, unless there's a lot of cautions. And so they've got to go from running 200 miles an hour around this track to 60 in less than a quarter mile. And that's going to be something tricky to watch without locking up the tires or getting spun out. Or it's going to be fun to watch. I haven't been able to see that this far. Bernie, you've seen some pit stops, but none under green. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be very interesting. I have seen previously where one of the guys came from the fast lane, fast lane across the nose of a driver in the slow lane, and they turned each other around. So hopefully that's not going to happen. I think really these guys at the moment, they're trying to work out exactly who they're going to pit with and what sort of deals can be made at this time.
Yeah, only time will tell as they come back around to take lap number 50 on this, what's going to be 200 laps. So right now we're a quarter of the way through, and Daniel Stevens still seems to be leading the pack.
Yeah, and one thing to remember with a lot of these guys, it's the first time they've run the Daytona 500 like this in the next gen cars, but a lot of these guys have got a lot of NASCAR experience in the trucks, Xfinity and other leagues that they race. I think they have about 3 or 4 events a week, so these guys will be used to pitting under green. They'll also know who they can pit with, who they can trust, and you know, who they want to run with, basically.
I do believe they're going to definitely be looking for their friends as the 9 car, and we got a whole group of cars heading to the pit road there. I didn't catch all the numbers there, but the pitting has started, Gary.
Yeah, so those guys coming in, folks, you got the number 66, Daniel Stevens, Danny G, he jumped in with him, and Roger Clark in the 09. So they're the 3 that have come through that time through.
I believe that was about as smooth as you can do it as well. Not much tire smoke coming off the cars. Nobody hitting each other. Well done, boys. Well done. Gary?
As Daniel Stevens still continues to be out there on the track, he leads Josh McElmore. Let's see what he does as they come around. See if he's going to pit with Josh.
Yeah, we've got another one peeling off now. Just trying to work out who that is. It looks like they're coming by themselves, though. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how they cope now.
too well in their benefit. But when you don't have anybody to run in with, you can't do nothing but go ahead and do it. And it looks like you got Roger Clark coming back on the back stretch here and leading a pack of 3.
Yeah, so the Roger had the fastest stop out of them, and he's down there with the Danny and Danny show. It's Daniel Stevens and Danny G. It's a good call of Roger to come in with those guys because they've got fast cars. He's got a fast car, so between the 3 of them, they should be able to make hay while the sun shines as these guys come in. But I tell you what, the front pack's going around again up to lap 39 of this stint. I'm just not sure how much further they can go.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm not sure what they're calculated or how they're calculating it, but it does look like at some point they're going to have to come in. I mean, they only get so much fuel, and as they go 3 wide through turn 3, passing lap cars, that was crazy.
Yeah, so the 83, that's Matthew Raymond. He's the guy that came in by himself, and he was down low as they threaded the needle between those 2. And I tell you what, that's heart in your mouth moment.
That was I held my breath for a second as they went through there.
Yeah, the guys go through once more. Matt Danson's leading Josh Micklemore here. Got a bit of a gap, and I have a feeling these guys are praying that a yellow comes out. I'm not sure if they're confident to jump in case one comes out once they've done their green flag, but based on this race, the statistics would have to be against a caution at this point in time.
I think it would be. These guys are spread out. Most of them are single file. They're not really running too close to each other. Everybody's still trying to get their bearings after they have pitted. So the chances of a caution coming out are slim to none at this point. So I don't think I would. Me personally, I wouldn't bank on a caution. But I'm not sitting in that car, so I don't know what they're going to do as far as how they got their plans coming out.
Yeah, so as they come up the back stretch once more, Josh Micklemore just drafting up behind the number 30 Vegan entry there, and we'll see what they do this time by. They must be thinking about, well, they have to be coming in soon, 41 laps off this stint, and we'll see what they do now as they look. Yes, we've got the Hooters entry coming in, and quite a few have come in. Their front 2 have stayed out, so has Jason Martin, and that's an interesting call.
Yeah, several cars came in, 18, 28, 53, and the 93 came in. Front runners here. It's going to be nice to see what these guys are going to do as they pull into their pits right now for their stop.
There's been contact as well. The 777 came around, and it looks like the number 10 was the number 10, might have got into him. Let's jump back and have a look at this if we can, and work out what's happened on entry here.
The 777 definitely does have a little bit of damage there, and it looks like the number 10 may not be too happy about that situation as well. They're doing it.
Yeah, so we've got to the replay here. We're going to have a look at them coming in, and the 777 is up behind the 10. We did see the number 12 there take to the outside verge there. Massive lockups going on, and yeah, the 10 was locked up. The 777 came in, and he just ran straight into the side of him.
Yeah, he lost control as he was trying to get down to pit road speed. To 10 trying to get down to pit road speed. To 12 trying to get down to that 60 mile an hour. Like I said, from 200 mile an hour to 60 is a big difference, and these guys are not coming in. Looked like the 77 car was the one that was unable to handle it. Unfortunately, collected a 10 car.
Yeah, well, I think it was more the 10 losing it, and the 777 was the, innocent bystander from where I sat. But here comes Matt Danson in now. He's got Josh Micklemore following him in, and we're having a look for Matt Cohn here, and what's he doing? It looks like he's got damage, or has he? Might just be filtering out.
I'm not sure. He looks like he's coming back up onto the track surface, getting up to speed on the backstretch. He might have gotten that position based on pits, as well as Jason Martin He looks like he already pitted. And Matt and Josh seem to be getting back on the track. Josh getting hung up in pit road for some reason. Not sure if he took 4 or Brad. Can you figure out if he took 4 tires or what the holdup is with Josh? Is Matt just left him behind?
From what I could see, Josh had to do a little bit of a double tap on his pit stall when he was coming in. I don't know that it would have cost him that much, so maybe a little bit of more of a pit stop for him as well. But I do know he had to do the little double tap there to get it in the pit stall for
Matt Denson is only at 60 miles an hour. What has happened to him? Did he run out of fuel? Is he going to make it back around? He is on the track surface, going really slow.
He's just come out of the pits. And who knows, he shouldn't have run out of fuel, but it's going to bring out a caution here by the looks of it. He was extremely lucky while he was on the inside line there that he didn't get cleaned up. A few cars dodged him, and it came mighty close for the number 30. Now he's stopped.
That vehicle is not running. I don't know if we've had a oops situation with a shift or what's going on there, but that vehicle is not running. He just called it to the garage there, Gary.
Yep, that leaves the 18 car out in the lead at the moment with Tony Brent pulling up behind him. We're going to have to get a hold of that and see what happened.
Yeah, I'm just having a look to see if we can actually get in contact with him. He's not in the chat channel at the moment, but hopefully if that's the end of his run, he can jump up and let us know exactly what's going on.
I hope it's not the end of his run. I hope he just ran out of fuel, because that would kind of stink. He had a good run going. It looked like he was possibly in contention for the win. Yeah,
well, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Considering they just come in the pits, maybe something broke as he got up to speed. Didn't see any smoke though. Just looked like the car had died.
No, he couldn't get up to speed. He left pit road. It looked like he was going, and all of a sudden he just died and he starts going down, almost like he lost his transmission. So, yeah, I'm not sure what happened to him. Hopefully we can get rid of him.
Gentlemen, looking a little farther back, is it possible he missed his pit stall? Because he came out of there so much faster than Micklemore. Is it possible that he just missed his pit stall and tried to make another lap around?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he was sitting in there for 27 seconds, wasn't he?
That would be weird for sure. Well, here he goes.
We'll jump back to this replay and we'll just have a look and see if we can work out what did happen to Matt here, and if he did in fact miss his pit stall.
Well, he's back on the track, back up to speed.
While we're looking back there, just a little note here for our front runners there. We got a lot of cars not necessarily grouped up, just kind of like a splatter here from about 5th on back. Nobody really getting in line. They're just kind of shuffling around there, Gary.
Yeah, as I'm watching the back and watch the replay as the 30 car and the 2 car come in together as they come into pit road. Everything seems fine as they come in. I'm watching as they come up.
It looks like Micklemore here is going to be leading the 3 or 4 car pack up to the leaders here, starting to get things straightened out with as far as the cycling going around here for the pits. Nobody's really gotten those big packs back together though, and it's very interesting to see how the green flags have affected these guys for the first time.
Yeah, I think as they start to get back, they're going to get in 2 and 3 deep cars drafting. You got who is that out by himself? Is that who is that?
That'd be just having a look. Which number are we looking at?
I'm trying to get up, but I can't. I might have an issue here. The 27. Darren O'Brien seems to be running up in the front now. No, he's a lap down running with the lap. Okay, that's why I couldn't find him. I'm looking up front. He seems to be doing okay with the lap cars, but we'll see how long these guys are going to let him stay up there.
Yeah, well, Thomas Hines is right behind him in the 26. He's also a lap down. Number 53 drafting them, that's Edward Foster. He's on the lead lap. So I think he's jumping on the back of these guys. He knows they've got pace, and I think he's hoping they're going to drag him back up because, as you said, Brad, the field is well and truly spread out after those pit stops.
It really is, and it's surprising to see how that's also cycled through our field as far as putting some drivers a lap down with those leaders going so much farther than everybody else. We got only 13 cars on the lead lap at the moment. I'm very surprised by this, Gary. Do you think we'd see this early in this race?
No, I didn't think that. I figured we'd have seen everybody on the lead lap before, at least until a big wreck. And we didn't see a really big wreck. Saw a couple cars get into it, with Norman being 2 laps down. So Darren O'Brien is in that lucky dog. If we do get a yellow, he's going to get a lap back, which will bring 14 cars to the pack. I don't think that Bruce will catch David Webb, who's the last car on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying the coverage here, folks, of the track cameras, they've been provided courtesy of Track Cams for Gourmets, and you can actually go and buy these packs at trackcams22.com, and they've got a lot of oval track, a lot of road racing circuits that you can use to mix your own videos.
Yeah, Roger Clark is in the number 7 spot, pulling up a second pack of 5 cars. See what he can do. Catch those guys. Looks like he could. He's got his teammates with him, so we'll see if he can catch them. You've got the cars with Edward in 4th place, and he seems to be staying in line with these guys, trying to catch that front pack. Maybe he can catch back up there and get in line with the top 3 guys. Got Riley Curtis, looks like he's in the midst of the next pack with a couple of lap cars. Stephen Williams on his tail is 777. I'm not sure I'd want to. Oh, there goes the 7 outside and into the Shannon McElmore. I can't be happy about that.
You're going to try to keep contact to an absolute minimum at this time. The only way they're going to get these packs back together again is keeping them nose to tail running as fast as they can. I'm sure they're hoping that front pack starts racing each other again, because other than that, we are just going to have parade laps at this current going right there, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely are. It's probably going to take a yellow to pull this pack back together again. We can see now Micklemore going on the high side there, trying to get past Edward Foster. Not sure if that's going to work because the other 3 down low are towing themselves. They are almost breaching the gap up to the number 28. That's the Hooters entry, so we've almost got this pack back to around about 6 cars. And remember though, 27 and 26, they are 1 lap down.
Yeah, Josh seems to have a faster car than Edward, so I don't think he really wants to be behind him. I think he would like for Edward to fall in behind him.
And the other thing to look at is the second pack here being led by Roger Clark. Danny G's in there, Daniel Stevens in the 66, he's also in there. So is Jason Martin and Mark Cohen, the lone American in this field, but they've got a lot of work to do, and I'm surprised that they're so far down.
They've got over half the race to go, so anything can happen, but Roger seems to be pulling these guys along. As Riley Curtis and Josh Micklemore, they've found their niche. Josh has got up behind Edward on the outside line to see if he can get past these lap cars. They've got 1 down, 1 to go, trying to catch that lead pack. Looks like Josh is trying to get Edward to stay in line and stay high to get by these guys to catch that lead pack. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and for the road racers joining us here, you're probably wondering why those two lapped cars aren't just stepping aside and letting them through. Well, in NASCAR, it's the blue flag doesn't really count, does it?
Yes, it does. But in this case, they're being used, so they're not hindering the speed all too much for these drivers, and they're able to post speed those cars obviously just a little bit faster, but on a short track, yeah, these guys would just definitely get out of the way as a lap car, whether they can muster speed or not. For the most part, there's a reason why they're going a lap down, and it's not because they're one of the fast pack. As Edward and Josh have seemed to catch the lead pack, and looks like they're going to try and take them on the outside. Brad?
Yes, it does there. That was a lot of teamwork between those two, keeping those cars nice and tight, keeping nice steady lines, and they have caught that lead pack. But going back to the lap down cars here, mind you, a lot of the lap down cars that we have right now were our front runners not 20 laps ago. So they're not, as what we would call them, lame ducks at this point. They are still very fast race cars, just with the way the pits cycled, they've unfortunately found themselves one lap down. But they're still definitely able to keep up there with the leaders as they... we got trouble on the front stretch.
Yeah, that was actually brought out. One of the cars a lap down there came down. I'm trying to get the number.
72 of Jason Nichols.
72, was it?
72 and the 75.
Yeah, let's just jump back. We're actually riding with Josh Mickelmore when that occurred. And let's have a look at exactly how this unfolded. So we're having a look here of the 72. You can see the lead pack coming up behind them. 72's carrying a lot of damage, and he's holding it up high right behind that other injured car. So we'll see what happens when they get onto the tri-oval here. All I saw was a flash as he came down into the, I think it might have been the Hooters car. Oh, he went into the wall. He got it into the wall. He's trying to hold it up high into the wall. Then he totally lost it at that point. I think he got into the 53.
Yeah, as he was trying to stay high, he was trying to stay a little too high. He hit the wall a couple times as the lead pack was coming up, and he kissed it one too many times and caught Edward Foster, who at the time was in fourth spot, with him and Josh trying to catch that lead pack. And it's a shame for Edward. He worked hard to get there. He overcame a big gap catching that lead pack with Josh coming up on behind him. The 72 car just couldn't hold it. Couldn't hold his line, and he just kept hitting the wall. And as those cars came by, he hit it one too many times, and that's just a shame for Edward.
Yeah, he was doing his best to try and hold it up there, though, wasn't he?
He was. In my opinion, I think he was doing it too hard. And in that particular part of the tri-oval, that wall, it's a little, it's blinding, and it's hard to see. And as we come around here to the start-finish line again, pits are open, and it looks like Bruce Smith is going to go into the pits, and with Matthew right behind him.
Yes.
It looks like all of our leaders are going to take this opportunity, fill them up, maybe put 4 fresh shoes on those things, and get these things back to racing nose to tail, because now you have 15 cars on that lead lap to contend with there, Gary.
Yeah, let's see who gets the lucky dog at this point. Was it Darren that got the lucky dog?
Just having a look now.
I do believe it was, because he is currently out there in front of the pace car, so I'm going to either assume he did, or he's making a very quick pace lap.
Yeah, it looks like 27 of Darren O'Brien is the lucky recipient of the lucky dog, as he gets to come back around and hit pit road and get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, it definitely was Darren O'Brien. We can just see him now coming in, as you said, into pit road in the number 27. So there you go.
Yeah, and the 53 of Edward Foster is still in the pits. Hopefully they're they're working on the damage on that car that he took from getting sideswiped by Jason, and hopefully they can get that car back in shape and get back out there before the pace car comes back around. Brad?
Indeed, they are going to be thrashing on that thing. One thing I've just noticed, though, looking at the number, I apologize, I've lost my head here. The number 93 there of Riley Curtis, he took a little bit of right front damage during that incident somehow.
Yeah, it's got a big chunk taken out of it, like a shark's been nibbling on that tyre by the looks of it. Not sure where he got that from, though. I don't think he has got involved in that last incident that brought out the caution.
No, I think you're right. I don't think he was involved with that, so it'll be interesting to see where that came from. I know he was running up there and there wasn't a lick on that car, so probably not something he's wanting to see right now going as we get ready to go back to green here in at least 1 or 2 more laps. That might hinder him as far as being a lead car now. He might have to resort to being a pusher for his teammates now, Gary.
Yeah, it's a possibility if that damage is going to slow him down or not, but I can't seem to find out where he sustained that damage. So I'm not sure if it was sustained here within the last couple laps or so. I can't find out where that's happened, but iRacing has a weird way of doing things for graphics for me, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but if he knows he's got damage on that front end of that car, then he'll know to stay tucked up underneath somebody.
You can see at the moment, folks, they're just starting to queue up behind the pace car here. The 51, Mark Cohen, he's going to lead the field away, and this is the first time he's led tonight. Josh Micklemore in the number 2, he'll go to the high line and join him very shortly. Then we'll have the 28 of Tony Brent coming in the second row. He's joined with Matthew Raymond in the 83. Now, the interesting thing about that is he actually pitted by himself, so it didn't hurt him at all. Third row, you'll have Bruce Smith and Riley Curtis. So that's your top 6.
And it does appear as though Mark is going to lead these guys to the green flag. Let's see if the lights on the pace car go out. And initially these guys at next time by, so they're going to find, no, lights go out on the pace car, so these guys are going to line up double file with Josh McElmore on the outside of Mark Cohn.
Yeah, and for the viewers just joining us, this is only the second caution we've had tonight. The first one, of course, was brought out with Steve Hoppett, and I think it was Darren McKenzie got together, and that was very early on, well, not really early on, about 20 laps in, 18 laps in, but so far, Gary, it's been a fairly fast-paced Daytona. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, these guys have been cooking along, and I'm pretty. If I was in there, I'd be hoping the next 35 laps just go nice and smooth as well. These caution laps are long and drawn out, but it tends to hurt a little bit more than it does if you're up to speed. So let's see if we can get another 35, 40 laps of solid green flag racing. Brad?
I would definitely love to see that. One person I'd love to pick their brain right now, and hopefully we'll get a chance to here later on, is Josh Micklemore. I'd love to know what he's going through. He's been up front. He's been in the thick of it. We've seen that car dang near everywhere burning. I'd love to know what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, well, I reckon when we go to the next caution, if we're able to, we might try and cross over to him. It's a bit late to chat to him now because he'll have his race face on. But we've had one retirement tonight. That's a number 95, Sam DeVentia. We heard from Riley earlier that he was ready to go racing, but unfortunately he's had to put that car behind the wall. Matt Danson, he's back out there, but he's 2 laps down.
And here they go. Mark Cohn taking the green flag. Josh McElmore to the outside with the 83 car. Matthew Raymond right behind him. See what they can do at that outside line this early on these cold tires.
So yeah, we're riding on the nose cam here with Tony Brent, and you can see just how close he's getting to the back of Mark Cohen here, and just trying to urge him and get that draft working.
Yeah, he literally pushed Mark Cohen out front there, trying to secure his second spot for this first lap on the green flag here. as 83 of Matthew Raymond decides to tuck up that behind him as well, leaving Josh, that poor guy, he finds a hole in behind Matthew and gets back up there so he can get shuffled to the back. Brad?
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Josh there. He got left high and dry, but it looks like they're going to straight line this pack and see if they can log some more laps here. Try to keep the drama to the minimum here. These guys seem to realize that it's just not time to fight it yet, as it looks like at least our top 10 have gone single file. Mark's holding his own out there, though, Gary, keeping these Aussies at bay.
It's still early. He's a sitting duck, just like everybody else has been. He knows that. He's out there for the fun of it. He's out there to log some lead laps, but he knows it ain't over. He knows he's got a long ways to go, and he's got at least 3 more pit stops to go, and anything can change. So he's going to get out there and hold that as long as he can. But Tony Brent getting right up behind him, trying to get him to speed up, but I don't know if Tony's wanting to pass him or have him go high, or if he's trying to get the 83 car and Matthew to go with him, go high and get around Mark. It's anybody's call at this point, unless we can hear those guys on the radio. We really don't know.
Yeah, we just heard also from Sam Deventier's crew chief. He said basically they were a couple of laps down, and instead of circulating and getting in the way of the guys, they decided to put that car away for the day, and they're now spectating.
Yeah, it's a shame for the first race of the season, but there's plenty more where that comes from. We've got 10 more races to go in this series, in this short season. So hopefully he can just put this behind him. Look forward to California in 4 weeks, and just continue on.
Yeah, so meanwhile, the top 10 by the looks of it, top 7 anyway, Jason Martin, the last one on here, starting to get a bit of a gap now over the number 12 of David Webb, and these 7 cars pretty much running that low line, and yeah, it's already split back here, Brad.
I'm somewhat surprised to see that, from going from all the cars running real close together to now seeing a split. I'm not sure exactly what may have caused a split there, because lap times seem to be fairly identical between these groups. I'm not sure. I'm puzzled by that here.
Well, Daniel G. and Darren were running with Roger Clark before that pit stop, and they didn't seem to get out with Roger. Roger's there in that lead pack with Daniel and Darren stuck back there behind David Webb. It doesn't seem to look like they're going anywhere fast, but it's anybody's game right now. These guys can catch up. We've sat here and we've watched it. These guys will catch up eventually, and everybody gets back up in there, and then it gets a little dicey. So it's just as the laps count down, we just watch the gap and hope it gets smaller. As it does, it has gone. They're catching about 1/10 of a second every other lap here, so they're catching.
Yeah, and those Edward Foster, they just passed there, putting him down a lap, and poor Edward, he had a fast car today, didn't he? And unfortunately, he was involved in that last wreck, and looks like the pit crew haven't quite got enough racing tape on that to fix it.
Something looks like it's happened to Tony as he goes from 3rd back into the 8th spot. Goes up high and gets shuffled in the back. I don't know if the car heated up or if he thought that was a little bit too much for him or what, but he jumped off the back end of Mark Cohn there and left that up to Raymond.
Yeah, he's just
from what I've seen there, him and Macklemore made a move to the outside. Didn't really work out for him. They started losing spots. Macklemore pulled back in. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to, and just kind of got freight trained there.
He left Tony Brandt out there in the cold. How rude. But it looks like Josh and Jason moved up on the other side to see if they can work for them, as Mark Cohn still hanging on to that top spot there as we go into lap 85.
That top line doesn't seem to be able to get anything on them right now. it's very interesting to see that with how we had great two-wide racing not even 20 laps ago, and now it just seems like that top line is worn off there, Bernie.
Yeah, they're struggling up there compared to what it was like earlier on. Actually riding in the nose cam there of Jason, he's now decided it's a low line he wants as he goes down underneath Josh Micklemore there. You can see the 28 is ahead of him, the Hooters entry. That car, I'm not sure if it's how it's handling. It just looked like it crept up the track a bit there, Gary. Okay, so at the moment, Mark Cohen's leading the 83 of Matt Raymond. And as we can see, Bruce Smith's tucked in there. The number 9, though, that car's looking pretty hooked up. And that's Roger Clark in the 4th position. They've got a bit of a split now, folks, and that goes back to David Webb leading this second pack. He's got Danny G with him, as well as Riley Curtis, Daniel Stevens. All those cars are fast, and they just need to get back on that front pack. And then Dave Douglas, well, we saw Dave involved in that pit lane incident, and that car's still all torn up, and I think his night's pretty much done there, Brett.
Yeah, it is unfortunate to see that, but he is out there pretty much all by himself. He's probably praying for a caution himself to see if he can get it back in there and get some more work done to it. But at this point, he's got a long night ahead of him if he continues this way, Gary.
Yeah, I hope he can just keep pace and not get in the way of these guys that come around, because they are moving around pretty quick. As Mark Cohn still leads them at a pretty good pace of 45.2 going around here. Let's see what they're running. 45.2 again, so hopefully Dave's not going to be hurting too bad, as his 48.6s are going to be lapped here pretty quick.
And it's unfortunate to see that the second pack there is losing ground. They lost 0.2 of a second that last lap to that lead pack. Bernie, what's going through that 12 car's mind, do you think?
I reckon he's praying for a caution at this point. Since they came back up to speed, these 4 really have not had the pace to hang with the front 6. I'm not sure what they can do to fix those cars and get some speed back in them, but I think the only way they're going to catch them is if we come under caution again.
Yeah, well, the 12 car did have issues getting on the pit road. That's what ended him back there, and I'm not sure what happened with Daniel or Darren, but they lost Roger, and they've had trouble ever since. So Roger Clark sitting up there in the number 4 spot, running in that front Tony Brick on his backside.
Yeah, and we spoke to Roger before the race tonight, and he was pretty happy with the setup of the 9. He reckons he had it pretty much hooked up, and he was looking forward to it. Little nervous, but that's understandable when you come to Daytona.
Yeah, I think he's got a smirk on him now because he knows what he's got. And I'll be willing to bet he's got Mark Cohen in his target sets right now, looking to catch that and get up there. He's trying, as just the cars aren't in it for him right now as he's working behind Bruce.
I will say this, out of that front pack, what I'm noticing is the 9 car is the least moving around. Meaning by that is it seems like he can hold his line through the corners much better than most of the cars around him. Everybody else seems to be dancing around a little more.
Yeah, that's definitely it. We're just having a look at them as they come down into the back straight there. And we rode with Roger in the 9, and you could definitely see the car in front of him just moving around a little bit more than what his was.
Yeah, I honestly think that will help him in the long run here. I don't think you'll see him pull out a line just yet. It just seems like right now, if you pull out a line, you're going straight to the back of the line there, Gary.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a good move to do right now when you're running 45-second laps to pull out there and try to get out on your own. You definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, so we're 9 laps to go here, folks, until we hit the halfway mark. And 4:22 p.m. here in Australia. These guys have been now running for about an hour and 22 minutes. So based on what you guys know in the NASCAR scene, what sort of time do you think they're making compared to what we're expecting here today?
They are actually doing pretty good with only 2 cautions. They're doing really, really good. It's 9:23 here on the west coast of the United States for Mark Cohn, which is a pretty long day for him, as he started his day out early, and he's still got at least a couple more hours to go. So hopefully he's not getting tired, but it's definitely going to be at least another 2 hours to go as they come up here on the halfway mark.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at our retirements. We've had a few more people step out of the cars since we last checked. Edward Foster, we saw him struggling after that incident. They've decided that they're going to pull that car off and park it. We've also had Jason Nicholas in the 72. He's also pulled that car in behind the wall and called it a night.
Yeah, they pulled the car in behind the wall after he hit the wall and unfortunately hit Edward. Looks like Matt Denson is still on pit road. I don't know if they're trying to fix that car and get back out to try and maximize on points or what they plan on doing. But yeah, it's one of those deals where time is calling it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It looks like he's just got out of that car, as you said that. But it'd be interesting to find out if he's had some sort of hardware issue, because after that pit stop, that's when the trouble really began for him, didn't it, when he stopped down the back straight here.
Yeah, when he had a miscue on pit road the first time, yeah. But he was able to come back out and get back up to speed. Unfortunately, he was with the back of the pack, a couple laps down. So we'll have to get with him and see what happened. There could be a hardware. Hopefully it's hardware, not something that happened with the car.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that's for sure. But meanwhile, Mark Cohen's leading Matthew Raymond in the 83 here. Matthew just showing his nose left and right. Looks like he wants to take the lead here, but he just doesn't have the pace, or he can't find where to make a move. And then you've got the Bruce Smith and the rocket of Roger Clark sitting there in fourth. They're dropping the 28 a little bit, not too much at the moment. But I tell you what, Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore, they have been dropped from the front back here.
But they are stuck together. Josh doesn't seem to have a car that lasts more than 10-15 laps, so he tucked in behind Jason and hopefully pull him along. 18 car on the outside. Nobody's going to go with him. Across start-finish line on lap 96. Coming up to the halfway point with Mark hanging down low as he can go. So if anybody's going to pass him, they're going to have to use that high line. So far, nobody's been able to pass. They've been able to race, get up beside, but not able to take the lead using an outside line. I think Mark's going to use that to his advantage in this stint. I hate it when you can't get a word. It's right there on your tongue and you can't get it out. It just bugs me to no end. But yeah, this stint, yeah. See, I've lost it. But anyway,
it sounds
here,
like yeah. There you go, Brad. You can take it. I was going to say it's getting a bit late over there for you boys. But, I appreciate you all joining us for this race.
It's no problem, man. Yeah, it's 12:26 a.m. for me at the moment. But I think what he's trying to say here is, as these stints get longer and longer, you're going to want to not race the car as much. I think a lot of these guys have gone into conserve mode, try to get them running longer runs in these cars so they can get closer to what I call go time, which normally for Daytona is the last 20-30 laps. You're really going to hammer on these things. But if you ain't got a car to get to that 20-30 lap run, you're sitting duck. So I think they're really just trying to conserve their equipment right now, get to go time and see what they can do, as it looks like the 21 and the 7 have caught back up to the rest of the field. Or the 21 and the 2, rather, not the 7.
Yeah, Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore there. We can see now the number 9 of Roger Clark and the 18 of Bruce Smith. They've decided to jump up onto that high line as well, and to see if that's going to work. But no doubt they're looking at what they've got. But what can they do with these cars as far as tuning them for those last 20 laps?
They can't do anything with them right now because it looked like Tony was able to capitalize off those guys going the outside. He sucked that back up on Matthew Raymond. At this point, tuning is not going to be an issue. It's going to be a matter of getting your pits on time, hitting that maximum speed. Don't go over it. Don't go under it. Hit your mark. Don't have to back up. Don't have to pull up. Get your fuel. Get your tires if you're going to take them, and get back out on the track. That's going to be the key to winning this race, as any race. No mistakes. The fewer mistakes you have, the more chances you are to win. As Mark Cohn gets shuffled, looks like he's going to pit as he comes down to 60 miles an hour for that commitment. Cohn, can he do it? Barely.
Yeah, so
and unfortunately there, Gary, he got left out to dry as well. Nobody came with him there, Bernie.
No, that's right. But previously we saw the same thing happen to the 83 of Matthew Raymond. He's now running second, so he should be okay once I get up to speed. The interesting thing, though, is he only lasted out front there for 25 laps on that stint. 28 into the wall.
Who got a wreck?
9, yep. Big wreck there, 28. The 9's involved in that. And back straight here. And I tell you what, that hoot is really torn up.
Looks like Bruce got into the back. The 18 of Bruce got into the back of the 28 of Tony and caused Tony to spin just as they were going into turn 3.
And our rocket man, Roger Clark, heavy front and rear damage on that car as well. Our entire front pack got into that one, boys. I hate to see that there, Bernie.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the replay here now, and tell you what, it started with Matthew Raymond there getting a little bit loose. The 28 went up high with the 9 following, and the 28, I'm just having a look here at the moment, is going all right. Did he get a tap from the 9? That is the question.
Yeah, it looked like looked like the 9 was looking like it was going to go outside as the 28 car gets into the 9 and gets collected up as the 18 and the 83 just kind of scoot right on through that.
Yeah, the 21, it was also involved in that. That was Jason Martin. It looks like he's got a little bit of, well, he's got a lot of damage. Look at that car on the replay. It's just letting loose. And what about the 9, Roger Clark? I'm trying to find him. A lot of damage on that car as well. The whole rear end torn up on that. I'll tell you what, he's going to be so disappointed. That car was a rocket ship.
Yeah, he's got a damaged front and rear. It doesn't look like it's going to be a good one. Hopefully see what his team can do in the pits. If they can get that thing straightened out. I don't know, man. It's pretty wrinkled up, Brad.
Yeah, and all that we were saying there with that car being so consistent and so good, he's going to not have any of that now. I really hate to see that for him. One thing to look at, though, I can't believe Josh Micklemore made it through there with, I don't think he hit anything. That car looks clean to me, Gary.
Yep, he made it through. He skated right on through there with the 18 car also. But it looks like the one that's going to capitalize off this is going to be Mark Cohn, who pitted early right before that mess.
Yeah, he's almost a psychic there. And another thing was Matthew Raymond there. I noticed in the 83, he actually missed his pit stall and he had to reverse back into it. He probably missed it by a foot, but he's come out now in 6th position.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt these guys if they don't hit their marks in their pits. Bruce coming out right behind him.
Better to do it now than on a green flag pit stop, though. There's a lot more room for error on caution than in a green flag lap there, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. So after that, Mark Cohen, he comes back out and he will lead the pack off. It looks like the number 12, David Webb, will be starting on the outside. It'll be interesting to see what he's got because he was dropped from that lead pack pretty quickly. Danny G also from the back second pack. He will start on the second row with Daniel Stevens in the 66 to start behind him. Looks like then the third row we're going to have Riley Curtis in the 93 and Matthew Raymond in the 83. As far as where Josh Micklemore is after that, he's going to be starting out of 10th position, and Roger Clark out of 12th. Jason Martin, though, he recovered. He's going to be starting out of 8th.
Hey, Bernie, you think it would be a good time to see if we can get a word with Josh there?
Yeah, for sure. I'll bring him up and you boys can have a chat with him if you like.
Absolutely. Hey, Josh, Brad up here in the broadcast booth. Kind of watched you go back and forth through the field today. What can you tell us about that number 2 car you got there?
It seems pretty quick, mate. Just trying to find my way back through the field again, but it's got collected just then, so hopefully the car's not hurt too much.
From what we can see out here, it doesn't look like there's too much of damage to it. We've seen you go to the front today. We've seen you go to the back. Is that strategy, or is that just how the ebb and flow of the drafting is going for you?
I was trying to work with my teammate. He ended up getting the lap down due to a few issues in the pit, so sort of stuffed me around a little bit, but that happens, it's racing, so yeah, just trying to work my way back up through it. So.
How's that outside line working for you? You seem to pick that outside line, try and push these guys up there. Is it working for you? Is it hindering things, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I think once we get a couple more cars up there, I reckon we'll be able to, get around up the top and that. But it is hard. Obviously, the pole line is a little bit quicker, but yeah, trying to make it work.
Good deal. Well, we're going to let you get back to what you're doing. Strap those belts on another time. Next stop looks like it's going to be a go time.
Yeah, no worries. I'll see what we can do here. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers. Good luck, buddy.
So that was Josh Micklemore. I noticed while you lads were having a chat with him, he was turning the engine off, coasting a bit and turning it back on. So already he's looking at just trying to conserve a bit of fuel.
Looks that way. Who just got the lucky dog? Somebody just took off. Who was that?
That appears to be... No, that's not. I apologize. I appear to be having a scoring issue at the moment.
The 54 car just took off past the pace car and it's going to get a lap back.
Yeah, that's Matt Clowett in the 54. He's now 4 laps down. So he's got 1 lap back anyway. He needs another 4 of those. But even if he was on the lead lap, I don't think he's got a car to battle with somehow.
No, he's got damage on both ends of that car. That's going to slow it down. As looks like the 10 car looks like it's coming back out on the track right now. Is it the 10 car?
Yeah, it's Dave Douglas there in the 10 car. That's the other car that's all torn up, and he's 1 lap down, and no doubt they're doing their best to try to straighten that car out, but I don't see that being the case tonight.
Looks like they're going to go green here with Mark Cohn on the inside with David Webb, who hasn't been up front all night long. See what's going to happen.
Well, you might want to get up there a little bit closer, I would think. There, as we take the green flag here, Mark's going to get a good run off of the start line there with the 24 right behind him. 12 car didn't have any help there, Gary.
No, I'm pretty sure that Daniel Stevens wasn't sure what he was going to do as he was hanging back. So it doesn't look like that outside line is going to move up too quick.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what David Webb's got. His last restart, they dropped off quite dramatically, and at the moment he's got up on the high line Daniel Stevens in the 66, but as you said, Gary, that doesn't seem to be quite working as the 18, Bruce Smith, now comes down underneath him. Jason Martin, though, he's on the high line. He's thinking he might be able to run with these 3 boys.
And he could, because the outside line has been working for him, and he's got Josh McElmore right behind him, so if those two get hooked up again, look at those two to do something possible. Josh says he was trying to get work for him, so let's see if he can catch up to him and make that happen. As Mark Cohen still pulls out the 44 car of AMG.
Yeah, and once this settles down, guys, we're going to bring Edward Foster up to work out exactly what has happened to the 53 here tonight.
Oh, that guy's got to be heartbroken because he had a good hot run, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly right, and we'll cross to Edward very shortly as these guys sort themselves out. The number 12, though, he's hanging up there. Looks like whatever was wrong with that car, he's got it sorted, and he's back on the pace.
Yeah, he wasn't doing too bad before in a pack of 4, but he also had a lap car in that pack of 4, and they just weren't able to catch the leaders. So he wasn't losing to the leaders, he wasn't catching them either. So he does need to get tucked inside to maximize his speed. As it looks like Bruce is trying to push him. Brad?
Yeah, it looks like they got things sorted out here pretty good. That 66 car, like you said, getting tucked up underneath, they're giving him a push. They must have made a couple changes to that car in the pits. There's some air pressures or maybe even a little bit of extra tape on there to try to get some speed out of that car.
Yeah, and we've got Edward Foster in the booth with us at the moment from the number 53. Edward, we've noticed you had to put that car behind the wall. Can you tell the viewers a little bit how bad that car was after that incident we saw you in?
It wasn't. It had some bent steering, but I mean, it wasn't particularly bad to drive. It was just slow with all the damage it was carrying. So I just decided to park it up rather than run 100 plus laps, just getting in everyone's way.
Yeah,
Edward, this is Gary. You looked like you were doing pretty good. Did 72 car give you any indication that he was going to come in? I mean, as you were coming around, were you able to see him trying to stay out of the way? What was going through your head when you saw him up there?
Well, I knew that he was carrying a lot of damage. I'm not really sure what the point is of continuing on a super speedway when you're that far off the pace. I mean, there are obviously a few guys doing it, and points are, people are thinking of points and so on, but you've got to probably give a little bit of thought to the race as a whole. I did see him trying to stay high. I did actually attempt to drop into the lower lane when I saw those guys sort of staying high on the outside. But unfortunately that particular route got blocked off, so I had no choice but to stay up a little bit higher and hope. And I saw him clatter the wall once, clatter it again, and I just grit my teeth and hoped he wasn't going to tag me. But we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, it was a shame too, because you were moving up too, and you're looking really solid. You had a nice solid line, and everything was working good. And man, it's a shame to hear that for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit disappointing. I mean, we put in a lot of effort today. I had a fairly special reason for wanting to do quite well tonight. It's just, it's one of those things. We actually thought coming in here we had a faster car than we actually did when it came round. And for a lot of the race, we were just sort of holding on. I mean, if I was last in a pack, I'd generally fall off the back of that pack and into the clutches of whoever was behind me. So certainly we have some work to do. I mean, it wasn't a winning car by any stretch, but I did want to try and jump up and see if I could run with the leaders and maybe grab the extra points for leading a lap or two, which would have been nice. But not to be.
Well, you were getting up there and you were doing good, and it looked like you had the possibility of being there at the end. This just hasn't been this track. So, are you gonna put your focus towards the next track and try and come back there, or what's next on your agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Riley Curtis Designs Motorsports. It's a new team for 2018. So we're running the entire Cup Series. So we'll certainly put our focus towards having better machinery at our disposal for that particular round. We're obviously coming up in a month's time, 4 weeks' time, and we've obviously got the Thunder in the meantime. So I must say I don't really like super speedway racing myself. It's not my favourite type of racing that we do. So I mean, this one's done for me now. So I can look forward to things that I maybe enjoy a little bit more.
Well, I do wish the best of luck to you on the next in your Xfinity series. Best of luck to you, and just get them next week.
Yeah, thanks very much. But at least on the plus side, I now get to sit back and watch this broadcast. It looks absolutely excellent. So just a quick shout out to my brother as well. He's had a bit of a rough week with his health, so I just wanted to give him a shout out. I did want actually to have a nice result to sort of dedicate to him, but he's just going to have to settle for the hello.
Fair enough, and hopefully James is doing well there in hospital, Edward, and is he tuning in today to check out the action?
He certainly is watching, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, James, hope you get well soon, mate. It's great to have you viewing this action, and hopefully we'll see you back on the track again soon.
Thanks very much, guys.
See you, mate.
Thanks, Edward.
Well, as we were talking there, the front pack has gone 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and they are getting it on here, boys. I've been watching these guys getting dicey, but keeping the hold of them, and no one's really got a clear advantage right now here, Gary.
No, but it does look like the 24 car of Danny G, who's been running back in the pack, has managed to get up front and is holding that outside line with Daniel Stevens, the 66 car, pushing him right along. Mark Cohn's going to have his work cut out for him, that's for sure, as he's looking at the door of that 24 car.
Right, he is, but it just seems like a light switch has happened with this front pack where the entire pack has really just become very racy, and they are nose to tail, both lanes. That is around 7 to 9 cars within a half a second of each other right now, Bernie.
Yeah, they're definitely woken up, haven't they? It's how far? We've got 85 laps of this race to go, and something's stirred the boys up because they're running 2 by 2, as you said. Looks like the 24, it's just getting the nose ahead of the 51 of Mark Cohen there. But the 66 has also decided to come up and play, as has the 21. Josh Micklemore, he's on the back of the pack there. We've seen him do that a few times, and still expect him to be up here when we get to the last 30.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to count out that number 2 car of Josh. He's definitely just kind of stepping on his own, and I think he's biding his time. He knows he's got plenty of it to do. As long with Bruce, he seems to be up there again. He's not really worried about being up front, just keeping up with the guys. And you got the 83 car of Matthew Raymond. He's stuck up behind the 93 car, and 12. I'm sorry, and they just seem to be going along 45 and a half seconds around this track, about 195 to 200 miles an hour. It's got to be a thrill.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you out there sometime, Gary, and you can be the in-car reporter, I reckon.
I'm definitely getting that itch. It looks like it's going to be fun if I do get to get out there. It'll be a great time. Obviously, these guys really look like they know what they're doing, and it'll be a great group to run with. And it's been a long time since I've been able to run with guys that I can run door to door and not have to worry about turning right into me. It's a blessing when you can get out here. Even though you don't get hurt, it doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. Just what you pay for the subscription and everything. But when you get that guy next to you and he just turns right into you because he doesn't like you or something, it really puts a thorn in your butt. And these guys seem to really know what they're doing and respect each other. It's great to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think there's any chance we'll see you guys come and run a few of the Thursday night Thunders and then try and do a few stints in the Cup?
The Thursday Night Thunder would be great, but the times isn't going to fit for us. 2 a.m. in the morning for myself, 5 a.m. in the morning for Brad. So, and that's during a week, so it'd be kind of hard to hit that. Almost impossible. This race that you guys have on Saturday afternoon is our Friday night, so it's basically our only chance. So, as as we progress in our licenses to iRacing, we're going to stick with this and be here with you to commentate. And if Roger and his group allows us to run the license run, we're happy to step in and drive the car for sure.
Yeah, it'd be good to see you boys out there. And as we see the number 21 there go low, but it's a deliberate thing that Roger's set the time at this time because he's really keen to get some good old US of A NASCAR boys down under to run in this series, and hopefully that'll be the case. At the moment, we've got Mark Cohen out there leading the way and flying the flag. He's got Riley Curtis behind him. The number 12 hanging on, and the 83 though, that's Matt Raymond. He's dancing along the back of that number 12.
He seems to be trying not to hit him. I mean, these cars, when you get up close, as we were doing some testing, the closer you get, the lighter that front end gets, and just so much of twitch on the wheel, especially through the turns. This track isn't exactly smooth, so it does hit the bumps, and it will get you a little bit loose in the front as you're tucked up underneath that car. And the last thing you want to do is hit that car in front, as we have seen a couple of times so far. It's not nice. Brad?
Indeed, you get in those bumps, these cars move around a ton, but these guys are kind of making me laugh here. Just as quick as they turned on that scuffle, they turned it right back off and lined right back up. One thing I did notice, though, it seems that the 27 has lost this lead back here. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but they have walked right away from him, leaving him back here all by himself. They're burning.
Yeah, that's Darren O'Brien there. He's dropped, trying to get a gap, 5.3 seconds off the front, and he's out there all by his lonesome. Car looks pretty straight, so I'm not sure exactly what the issue is with that car. But I'll tell you what, up the front here, it's definitely heating up. And 121 laps here. We'll do a bit of a race recap for you here, folks. So for those just joining us, 121 laps completed, 79 remaining. We've had 14 lead changes, and we've had a total of 3 cautions, and the caution laps were for 9 laps. Seen quite a few bigger names fall victim. The latest one was Roger Clark. He had a rocket ship under him, but he got involved in an incident. He's still circulating out there in 11th spot, but also had a retirement, and that is the number 30, Matt Danson. He's decided he's had enough there, and he's put that car behind. It all came unstuck for him, folks. On his first pit stop, went in with a good car, came out, and it just stopped on the back straight, and it hasn't been quite right ever since.
No, these cars seem to get a little bit of damage, and that's it. They're not being able to get it repaired. Daniel O'Brien looks like he might be waiting for Roger. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but Roger has managed to get behind the car here. Who is he behind?
26, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is the 26 car of Thomas Hins.
Yeah, so Thomas is no slouch behind the wheel, so maybe these two are trying to tow each other up. Duane Cleese, he's also on the back of these boys, and the last one behind them is a 98, I think, of Stephen Williams. I could be wrong. That might actually be, no, that's Norman Clark, and he's 2 laps down.
Yeah, it looks like Roger's going to try and get around the 26 car of Shannon Thomas. But he's sitting down, so it's hard to see what these. I think he's got so much damage that he can't get out and about. And in the straightaways, he seems to be a little bit faster than Thomas. So I don't know if what he's thinking or what he's doing or what, and if he's going to try and bring his father Norman around with him and get up front. Looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think they've decided they're going to work as a bit of a team here and try and tow each other up. But I don't know with the 9 though. Once it gets out of that slipstream, I don't know how slippery it's going to be, and whether he's just going to have to tuck in there and just stay behind somewhere.
Yeah, he's about 0.3 seconds slower holding out there up front. So we'll see what happens on the next time around if he stays out front with his dad pushing him, and see if that helps him any, and not working against the draft passing, to see if that helps him. But it just goes to show these guys back 10th, 11th, 12th, lap down, they're still fighting for positions back here. Brad?
And as they should. I mean, just because you're not fighting for the lead doesn't mean you can't fight for where you're at. Every position counts as far as points-wise, and at the end of the day, you can go up to your buddy and be like, yeah, I may have been 12th, but I still beat you.
You do that a lot, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Meanwhile, up front here, Mark Cohen is still leading this race. He's got the 93 Riley Curtis pushing him up on the high line. We've got the 21. He's trying to make that work with Danny G. And Matthew Raymond in the 83, sitting in third. That car's starting to look a little bit squirrely for my liking, but what do you guys think?
He's been that way for a few laps. I'd say at least the last 10 laps or so. He's trying to hang that line as low as he can. I think he's hitting the apron a little bit and getting a little dicey coming in the turns. As the 93 of Riley seemed to get a little bit out of whack there for a second, Brad.
Yeah, it seems like all of the cars here lately are getting a little light in the rear end. I don't know if that's because we're getting towards the end of yet another fuel run on these cars or not, but everybody does seem to be dancing around a little more, and it may also have to do with, it seems like the drivers are starting to dance around a little more, trying to put these cars in different positions, trying to get up there. I think they're saying it's time to go, it's time to race. You're looking 70-ish laps to go. Maybe it's just time to put these cars in position, Bernie.
Yeah, I would have thought they're going a little bit early, but maybe they think this is going to go all the way to the end, and they decided they want to start the fighting a little early. It's going to be interesting to see who actually takes this win. At the moment, Mark Cohen, he's been leading this race for quite some time, and he's in no... doesn't look like he's in any position to relinquish that lead anytime soon.
No, he's not, but there's still you got two more stops before this race is over, so it's still anybody's game, but Mark definitely seems to be holding his own out there as he comes into the league late and seems to be telling these guys that he's no slouch. He can handle his own. Looks like Shannon has decided to exit the track.
Who was that?
Shannon?
Number 55 car, Shannon Mason, has just left the speedway. There is indeed. But one thing I would say about Mark is he knows these cars. He knows oval racing very well. I think he knows right now that he is really setting the pace for the field at the moment. Wonder if going through his head is, does he want to lead right now? Because a lot of times you come across that on 2 to go, you're not the car that comes line first at the checker.
That's right. And it looks like he's got they're bunching up there with the 21 car coming back up. The 93 car's been on him a couple times and a little too close for my comfort this late in the race. I wouldn't want it just yet, but Mark seems to be looking for a line. I don't know if he's trying to tell these guys where to go or what, but they're doing a lot of dancing up front there, buddy.
Yeah, I was just thinking he's definitely telling them where to go, I think, by leading them. I'm just getting some news through here, basically from the 28, sorry, that's Tony Green. He's had to park that car. He basically said he got caught out there in no man's land, and the 83 caught on the apron and put him in a bit of spot that he didn't want to be in, and that car unfortunately is being pushed behind the wall.
That's sad for Tony. He seemed to have a very strong car tonight. Definitely running up front as much as he did. It's definitely frustrating to be parking that car tonight, for sure.
Yeah, well, he's joining a bit of a list there, and for those viewers just joining us, he's one of the latest retirements. The 55 we mentioned just a moment ago is also they've retired. Dave Douglas in the number 10. He was under a lot of damage. He's also he's put that car back in the transporter. Lost Edward Foster in the 53, Matt Danson in the 30, Jason Nicholas in the 72, and Sam Devantier. He was our first retirement tonight in the 95.
Yeah, it's a shame for these guys. They worked all week on this, and man, it just wasn't their night tonight. So hopefully they can just catch their breath and take a couple, count to 10, put it behind them, and not retaliate in the shorter tracks of weeks to come. Just race the race and race the track and not the guy in front of them. It'll come to them in the end.
Yeah.
But these guys up front, boy, they are dancing. I don't know if Matthew Raymond is trying to get Riley to go high to get around Mark Cohn or what, but man, they are using a lot of real estate right now.
Yeah, and we're just having a look at the back of Riley Curtis's car. You can just see how much that 83 is moving. It's moving to the left, it's moving to the right. I don't know if he's looking. I think that's what he's doing, but it's definitely moving up and down the track at the moment.
Unless he's faster, unless he's got a faster car right now than that 93, and he doesn't want to hit him, he's pulling out to let that the aerodynamics slow him down versus hitting on the brake or lifting. But it does look like that 93 does have a little bit of damage on that right side of that fender, so that could be slowing him up. And the 83 car, he's got a pretty clean car, so he could just be faster and not trying to hit him, take him out.
So, Brad, what would you be thinking? We're looking at out of the number 12 now with David Webb, and we can see that 83 moving up and down the track. As a driver, would that really be bothering you that much?
Not really at this point. He's not really that close to be causing any issues for any cars right now. One thing I would be concerned for a little later on is if I was going to go to his outside, I'd be worried if he's going to drift up into me. But right now, just following him, it's not too big of an issue. It's actually giving him a little bit of opportunity to close that gap to the rear bumper of that car and get the field caught back up to the lead pack there. But to do anything, he's going to need other guys to help him anyway, so I don't believe it's going to be too big of an issue there, Bernie.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a question I had there, and it's interesting. Tony Brent's turning his attention now to Mark Cohen. He's saying he hopes he takes the win here because Tony was helping him with the setup earlier on.
Well, that's good. I'm glad Mark was able to get a setup as in coming in late and not having a chance to get anything done. So that's awesome that Tony's from the Midwest, somewhere over here in the U.S. I'm not exactly sure where, but in the Midwest, and it's awesome to help Mark Cohen get something straight. So as I sit aboard this number 12 car, watching these top three cars sitting there dance back and forth, I can, in my mind, I'm going, okay, when you guys wreck, which way you going? Because I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. What do? Stay low and hope they go high?
Well, I know in the GT racing, you get guys, they get up there and they start fighting for turns, and myself, I hold back and I'm just waiting for them to get off in the grass and go spinning in a different direction and hope they don't hit the wall and collect me and get by them as quick as possible. So in an instance of a speedway like this, that's all you can do, and it's cross your fingers and hope you get through it, basically. But yeah, I'm sitting there looking, they're just dancing around up there. It looks like they're having a waltz.
Yeah, a bit more news on Tony Brent. He's basically from Wisconsin. I hope I pronounced that right. And it's 12 a.m. over there, Gary.
So he is probably ready to hit the rack if he's not gonna watch the rest of this. I imagine he's tired. It's Friday for us, or the end of Friday, and I imagine he probably got up this morning, went to work like most of the other people here in the United States, and it's been one long day for him. And to have it end like this has got to be frustrating. I know it would be for me.
Yeah, but all the same, it's great to have Tony over here joining us down under as Mark Cohen, and I'm sure there's a few other boys from the US of A out there running and just don't have enough information on them.
Right now, the only one out there from the U.S. is Mark Cohn, Napa, California. 10 o'clock at night right now for us. So he's probably yawned a couple of times and trying to hold it back just to stay awake. He's toothpicks in his eyes, holding his eyes open, and I imagine being out front of these guys has got to be something else. I know if I was leading this pack, I'd probably be nervous.
Yeah, well, Tony Brent said he's basically he's on top of the transporter somewhere, sipping cocktails, enjoying this racing. So that's great to hear what he's up to. But speaking of toothpicks, Gary and Brad, how are you blokes going over there? You keeping awake?
Right now, we've got the Rockstar energy drink flowing through the blood. So yeah, for a while, I'm going to be sitting here watching this, and it's just a matter of waiting for these guys to pit and give us some action.
Yeah, it's 1:03 a.m. for me, and I am almost 3/4 of the way through my Rockstar energy drink myself.
Well, I'm sipping Dare cold pressed coffee at the moment. I figured whenever I do these things, I start with a hot coffee, it turns into an iced coffee, so I figured I'd just go straight to the iced coffee.
Yeah, I thought about putting my coffee on. I've got that Death Wish coffee, but this late in the night, that's not something I want to be wired on. So the energy drink's not too bad. What helped me get through here is the 83 car looks to be going, oh, nope. Looked like he was poking outside there for a minute and was going to take the position away from the 93 car.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go high there, but he decided that line just wasn't going to work for him. But he's definitely looking like he wants to get past the 93 Riley Curtis, and he wants to have a crack at the 51. That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, the 93 car Riley seems to be holding him up just a bit, and I do believe if the 83 got up behind the 51, they'd pull away because 12 car's not going to have a whole lot. He can't seem to get up behind the 83, so I wonder if he's got some damage as well, and it's going to be between Matthew and Mark.
Yeah, we're riding here with the 83, and you can just see him working that wheel, trying to work it out. He's actually lifting. That's how much of a toe he's getting at the moment.
Yeah, when you're in a pack like that, you have to be lifted. You've got your left foot on the brake, ready to hit that. And I do believe he is pulling out to let that arrow slow him down so he doesn't lose too much momentum.
Part of me wonders even if he's pulling out the nose a little bit, maybe he's got a little more tape than these guys does, and he's starting to get that engine a little too hot. I know about 260, 270 on temperatures there. These engines start to not get too happy there, Gary.
Yeah, it could be, but not knowing what his pit crew did, and it looks like Mark Cohen's going to the pits. Oh, and 83 gets into the 93.
Yeah, that's Riley Curtis around into the inside of the wall there. I don't know if he caught it, but that was sort of bound to happen, wasn't it?
Not sure what Riley was thinking. He just slowed down. I don't know why.
I think he might have been thinking about, where was it, near the pits. We'll have a look at the replay now. I wonder if he was trying to get in. Let's have a look at this. They're coming up where are they coming up? I think it's the back straight, am I right?
As they come into turn 3 and through turn 4, Matthew is right on Riley. As we saw Mark Cohn peel off down below to hit the pit road. And there was no indication until late that Riley was going to go to pit road, as he just hit him in the back. Man, he had nowhere to go.
Having a look, yeah, that's what it was. He's tried to get in late to go in pit road. You can see the roof flaps there working their magic to keep that back end down, but he was lucky he didn't hit the wall. What he's unlucky about, no doubt, do you reckon he would get a unsafe pit entry for that?
I don't know. I haven't come across that in iRacing, so I don't know if that's what they would do, but he's getting back up to speed. Doesn't look like he's going to pull her back in to serve any flags. And there definitely was no yellow flag. Everybody looked like they got off the racing path, so got people doing pit. Josh and Take the 21 car and the 2 car have gone in the pits.
Yeah, Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin, they're decided they're going to be pit buddies here. Looking further back, we've got the number 12. He's just getting up to speed now. That's David Webb and Riley Curtis. Well, he's back out there after getting that car serviced. A lot of rear end damage to that car. Just having a look further for the 83. Oh, look at the 83. That car's all torn up now. And check out the inside camber of that wheel. It's I think it's seen better days. He's not getting it up to speed. I think he's going to have to bring it back in.
Yeah, he tore up. He hit him pretty hard. He hit Riley pretty hard. Just hit him straight on, and I don't know why he would have any camber problems, but the front end of that car looks like he ran into a wall.
Yeah, it certainly does. As we see now, Micklemore and Jason Martin coming through, and just getting a little bit squirrely there as they come back up onto the racetrack. So Josh Micklemore is leading Jason Martin at the moment, first and second. David Webb, he's sitting in third, some ways down. Then we've got the number 24, Danny G. He's been towed, well, he's slipstreaming basically with the 66. And then Mark Cohen, the first of the pit stops, he's down there in 6th position, and he's got Riley Curtis to help him to tow them back up. 146 laps of 200 here at Daytona. Still a lot more racing to go though, folks.
Yeah, it looks like Josh McLemore and Jason Martin might have the lead of this race, as I think they just took fuel, and that's why they were a little slick coming back on with those old tires. Might be a mistake for a late pit that's going to happen around 175, 185, so they may or may not have to take tires, but it looks like right now they are getting out there almost 2 seconds in front of the 12 car of David Webb.
I tell you what, just heard from Steve Hoppett there. He's basically said, I'm still here, Bernie, don't count me out yet, mate. He said, I'm going to finish this, never say die. That's from the 81. I'm actually impressed that he can type while he drives.
Hopefully he's got a co-pilot. Yeah, hopefully he's got a co-pilot, but boy, that took him about 20 laps to type it out, letter by letter.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, it's uppercase, lowercase, double space. So yeah, it sort of says a lot, doesn't it?
At least he's still got his attention focused, and Steve Hoppett seems to have a really big sense of humor. I love listening to him on the Xfinity race. Kept me entertained, and I hope we can do the same for him. As I know that after he gets finished here, maybe later on in the day or tomorrow, he's going to watch this, and hopefully he's entertained as well.
Yeah, I worked out why you could type that. They're actually in the pits getting that car repaired at the moment. So hopefully we'll see him back out on track. But yeah, folks, Steve Hoppett, he calls the Thursday Night Thunder with me. And I tell you what, I named him the voice of ANZCAR last Thursday because the fans and the viewers absolutely loved him.
Yeah, you guys were a joy to listen to for sure. And Steve always sounds happy no matter what. So yeah, it's definitely good, and I hope next Thursday or Wednesday for me, I get up early again and I can listen to you guys on my way to work. So it's definitely a blast. But looks like Josh McLemore and Jason seem to be pulling away from the field. David Webb is trying to lead up there with Roger Clark. Roger Clark's got a lot of front end damage, so I'm not sure that's going to do him a whole lot of good.
Yeah, Roger's lapped down, but he's definitely decided that he needs some help out there, and I guess sticking behind Roger's better than being out there by yourself. But just behind them, we can see Danny G and Daniel Stevens here also trying to tow each other up. And then Mark Cohen at the moment, he needs a dance partner, and he's out there all by himself at this stage.
Yeah, that wasn't a very smart idea for him to go in the pits by himself. And I'm wondering if the 93 was supposed to go in with him or wanted to go in with him, and just a little miscue there, and that's what happened. But, I bet you Roger Clark right now in the position he's in, they are kind of creeping up on the leaders. I know he is looking for a caution so he can get that lap back on the lead lap. And, hey, stranger things have happened at Daytona. he could win this race, and there is still 50 laps to go. Anything can happen in those 50 laps, as we've seen in the past 50 with Mark Cohn leading many of those last 50 laps and now sitting back in 6th place all by himself. Right?
One thing I'm noticing about Mark, and I'm somewhat surprised about this, is even though he is by himself, he is gaining on those two cars. He dropped about 1/10 of a second off of their gap here in that last lap. I don't know if that's going to be true this lap. It looks like they may have pulled him a little bit there. But there for a little bit, he was actually gaining on them. So he must have one really good setup underneath that car, Gary.
Yeah, Tony helped him out pretty good. He's running 46s, 45.9. So he's got to have some sort of pull with that pack. He's not that far out of reach, and he could if he just runs his line like he normally does and takes a deep breath. 6th place isn't the worst, but I know he doesn't want to be there. So he's got himself back up and just do the best he can. There's nothing to be embarrassed about right there, for sure.
So one of the viewers wanted to know how many retirements we've had. Well, basically, folks, we had 26 starters, and at this stage we've only had about, looks like 5 retirements from this race. Another piece of news, and I'm trying to get the link to this, but the car 75, that's Darren McKenzie, he's actually streaming this race in VR. So that's another piece of good news. And what's your thoughts on VR, guys, as far as sim racing goes?
Everybody's dream, but nobody's pocketbook. Very few people can afford the $400 to $500 VR set, and those that can, they really enjoy it. And some guys, it actually helps increase their ability to compete. I myself, I have a track IR system that does a head tracking, and it does help, especially when you're in packs, because you can just look and you can see where these guys are. But VR is definitely, anybody who's serious about sim racing, VR is where they want to be.
I unfortunately have not gotten any experience with any of VR or even the track IRs as of yet. Definitely something I'm looking into, though, as far as the advancement of the sim rig here for me. Probably quite a ways down the road in the future for me, but I think it's definitely going to raise the sense of immersion for anybody that would use it. One thing I'd be a little hesitant on it, though, coming from an off-road racing background, is that might make me feel like I'm on a roller coaster, and me and roller coasters don't get along real sick. So I guess I'd have to see how that goes there, Brent.
Yeah, I think, when I first started, the triple screens, they were bloody expensive, but most people have them. I think as the price of VR comes down, we'll see more people adopting it. But, for the viewers out there, in our YouTube chat channel, I just put the link in. If you want to see what it's like in VR in NASCAR, you can go over and check that out. But don't tune out on us, just open it in another window. But this race is starting to heat up, guys. We've got Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin, they're leading it, but the 24 now, he's just getting past the 12, and they've decided that the 66 and the 24, they want to make that high line work and see if they can pull them in. I'll tell you what, that gap is coming down.
Looks like Danny G is trying to do a repeat from his Xfinity race
as the gap pounds continue. It's funny that we say this, though, because not even 10-15 minutes ago we were saying don't count out that number 2 car, Josh Micklemore, and the 21 there, and look at this, right up to the front with them. Welcome to the joys of super speedway racing. You never know when you're going to be in the lead there, Brian.
Yeah, well, that's it. Look, they're right up on there now, and one of the viewers is saying Danny G and Stevens are working together there. Well, we saw that, and they've closed right in now on Josh Micklemore. 44 laps remaining, almost go time here at Daytona, folks, and looks like we're going to be in for an awesome finish. Also going to bring Steve Hoppert in a moment. He's in the pits, and as his pit crew go to work, and we might get his view on things.
That would be quite an interesting view from him. Sitting there, he's had an up and down day for sure.
Yeah, so I've got Steve Hoppett in the broadcast booth. Steve, have you got time to have a bit of a chat with us, mate? Nope, he doesn't.
I'm sure he might be down there throwing wrenches at that car himself.
Yeah, I think he's underneath the car trying to fix it himself, but we might try getting back to him a bit later on. But yeah, I'm just having a read of our chat channel here. It's coming alive like this race is. And tell you what, it's almost time for us to start picking who's going to win this. I'm not going to ask you now. I'll give you the last 15 laps and we'll go from there. What do you reckon?
I reckon that will be a very, very hard thing to do. These boys are certainly starting to show that any of them could possibly win this thing. As it went from a 2-car battle, now it looks like we've got a 5-car battle up there for the lead going on there, Bernie.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dicey because they're caught up behind the 30. The 30's actually a lap down. And you can see Josh and the train just sticking on him. The 30's not going for the high line to let him by. So if they're going to get past him, they may have to go around the outside.
Well, it looks as though they've gotten that 30 car back together, and he's able to hold speed. He's back up to 45/8 on the laps, so he might be pulling those guys along. It doesn't look like he's slowing them down at all. 45.3.
He's 19 laps down, and that's Matt Danson. So whatever was wrong with that car, Gary, as you said, they've definitely got it going again. But what do you think the boys behind him would be thinking about now?
Get out of my way. I mean, they're not holding them up, so unless they're talking on a team chat or something, they're not holding them up, and they don't seem to be minding. It doesn't look like they're trying to pull out, so or bump them to let them know that they're there. Like in a GT racing, you'd get that guy back there and he'd start flashing his lights, and you just let him go because that's probably the most irritating thing in the world. But yeah, so he's running right speed, 45.2, so he's not hurt at all.
I'll tell you what, I wonder what's going through Danny G's mind at the moment. He took out the Thursday night Xfinity race. He's got his eyes on this race at the moment, third. Wouldn't it be incredible if he can make it double here after winning Thursday night? If he could take out the inaugural Daytona 500, he would be a very happy man.
I think that's any racer's dream, to get that sweet weekend in, say, hey, look at me, I'm not only good here, I can do it everywhere. He's probably going to be trying to read what the 2-car and the 21-car are going to do. Honestly, if I was the 2-car, I'm using that 30-car to save some fuel, because this may come down to that kind of a race, that they could have to make more green flag pit stops, and if they do, the farther he can go, the better, maybe. But I highly suspect that as soon as one car moves up, everybody's moving up, and they're just going to have a drag race around the 30-car there, Gary.
Yeah, a bit more news on the 30 and the number 2. Edward Foster just let us know these two are mates, so they're used to running together, and the number 2 would have absolutely no issue with the 30 sitting where it is.
I wouldn't suspect it being that way. I mean, I wouldn't have any issue even if I was the leader, as long as the car's making pace and not in the way causing issues. What's it going to hurt to have somebody else using their engine, using their stuff up to lead the pack there? Might as well just save the car for when racing's going to happen. But I got a feeling that's going to come up here really soon, because everybody's starting to tighten up just that little bit more now.
Yeah, they're tightening up, and that 2-car is probably using him as a fuel saver. As he's falling in behind him, he's going to be saving fuel, so these guys could it could come down to that last pit stop, not having to take a full tank and just putting a few gallons in to finish the race, and that could be the deciding factor of how much fuel you've got to put to get it to the end of the line. But yeah, that 30 car seems to be running right along with these guys with no problems at all. That 66 car pulling up that 5-car pack.
And having a look further down the pack, Mark Cohen here in 6. He's still running by himself at the moment. Having a look to see the gap, he's about 20 seconds off the lead. So I guess he's hoping there's going to be a caution so he can get up there and fight with these blokes.
Yeah, he seemed to lost any pull that he had. He's down to running 47-second laps. Roger looks to be coming up on him, not too fast, but he's trying. And yeah, it's bad for Mark as the 21 car, Jason, takes the lead.
It looks like the 21 and the 24 and the 66 there's decided it's time to leave the 30 car in the dust. And unfortunately, it looks like the 2 car is going to get stuck on the inside line and have to wait for it to cycle out before he can get back into that race. So, Gary.
I don't know. They're still fighting on it inside. He's not giving up that quick in that 30 car. They got that thing fixed. They got that hot rod fixed up. They put a new body on that thing or something, but they definitely got him going, and he's running right there with the leaders. It's just unfortunately he's so many laps down. But yeah, Jason Martin seems to be carrying that outside. I know he's probably got a dent in his foot holding that pedal down.
I would think the drivers may be feeling quite a bit of fatigue at this point. 165 laps into this race. I personally have never done a full-length race, so I'm not 100% sure on how I would be feeling. I know the other night we did 45-minute races, 45-minute race, and by the end of that, my arms were very sore. So I applaud these guys for having the endurance to run like this, keep it off of each other, and keep going as they got another 35, 40 laps to go here.
Experiences running in Papyrus titles prior to iRacing. Done a couple of Daytona 500s and third and second. And you're still hammered down, foot to the. You're trying to make that pedal go further. It's not going to go further, but you're trying to push that pedal as far as you can. Your foot falls asleep, toes fall asleep, and about this far into the race, yeah, it's your foot. I know my foot hurts. You're looking for a little part on that pedal to get some feeling back into your foot as the 30 car just keeps edging out and bringing 2 right along with him.
Sorry, mate. We're just having a look at the track cam there to give the viewers a bit of an idea of the speed these blokes are at. And what would they be doing around here, Brad? About, 200 mile an hour or something?
Yeah, you're looking 200, 201 down the end of the backstretch there, about 194, 195 sustained through the corners. You're not going to see too big of a swing up and down here at Daytona like you would at another speedway. If these cars weren't running side by side, they could probably get it up to the 203, 204 range down the backstretch. But with them running side by side, they are going to bleed a little bit of speed off each other there.
A little bit, not much.
One person who's lost a bit of speed is a 24. That's Danny G. All of a sudden he finds himself up high, and no one went. Everyone jumped low. He finds himself now sitting behind the 66 of Daniel Stevens.
Yeah, he just shuffled around. Now they're back into single file, and it looks like the 2 is trying to tuck up behind the 30. I hope he doesn't get too close up there, but Josh knows what he's doing, so we'll just watch him and see what happens as Danny G brings up the back end of that the 5 car, but 4 cars in the lead lap. Looks like David Webb is back there with the 7.7 of Dwayne Priest and Norman Clark trying to pick up on those guys as he's just running around for laps. David Webb being in the 5th spot. The 83 car, who took a big hit on that 93 car in their laps round at pit stops, is hooked up with Mark and with the 93 car in tow. They're a few seconds, they're quite a few seconds, 30 seconds back behind the leader. But they have managed to pick back up a second on their times as they cross the start-finish line here now. And that pack's running 45, so they've kind of picked up the speed. Mark Cohen behind the 83 car. Trying to get something done here, Brad.
Something I'd like to see out of that pack is maybe just shuffle Mark to the lead of that pack to get a car with a fresh nose on it, maybe to pick up a little bit more speed. You know that 83 car's got to be holding them up. That thing looks like a brick wall going sideways down the road. I think if they could get a fresh car up front and get the other ones lined up behind it, it will really help their momentum. At this point, though, if it doesn't have a caution, as you see, Mark pulls out of the line there to try to make that happen. But if they don't have a caution, I would find it very hard to believe that they could catch that lead pack at this point now, Gary.
Right, yeah, it's not going to happen. 30 laps to go, and they're 30 seconds behind. No, it's not going to happen unless there's a caution, and they are not giving Mark a break, and it almost looks like they're going to shuffle him back to the back of that pack, and that's a shame because they probably could have got a little closer with Mark out front. Mark knows what he's doing, and well, you know, that's racing.
It's definitely a shame to see that very fast car just not having the right opportunity to use it. As our leaders appear to have picked up a few more lap cars to bring into the mix up here.
Yeah, they're cycling around the outside of their lap car. The 54 of Matthew Cloyd. Is that? Am I saying that right, Bernie?
Sorry, Matthew Cloyd, I think it is. Cloyd? That's how I pronounce it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong as well.
Yeah, my apologies if I am. But yeah, they got around him okay. As that 30 car, Mac Benson, seems to be pulling the leaders around. 65 laps. How many laps? He's quite a few laps down. 65 laps down from the leaders, and man, he's just pulling these guys around.
That's got to feel good, though, to know that even though you are that far down, you still have one fast hot rod, so you're doing something right.
Yeah, but Mark Cohen might want to start doing something. These guys, he might want to get on, get his teammate to get these guys on the comp, because they're just 10 seconds from being a lap down. The lead pack is moving pretty good, and they're 33 seconds back. So it's not good, being that 27 laps to go.
We just had a bit of news on the 09 there. It's they pretty much parked that in the pits and saying the motor is terminal. So that's a shame, because that car was hooked up earlier tonight, and that's Roger Clark in the 09.
Yeah, it is a shame. His father's out there still plugging along, trying to pick him up. Hopefully he doesn't have the same engine problems, and he can at least finish a race and get a 1-for-1 for the Clark family.
Yeah, that's it. But at the moment, Josh Micklemore is leading this race. We're down to 26 laps to go. And no doubt they're going to have, one more pit stop, and then they're going to go to the end.
I would think so. It's going to be funny to see if Matt goes in with them and continues to help them pull the draft. But he surely doesn't have to. He just came out there in front of those guys not too long ago. So the 2 and the 21 are going to have to pit here pretty soon. Unknown how soon, but they should be pitting here within the next 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, and they came in together, didn't they, last time, and it worked really well for them. So I'd expect both of those guys to come in together once more. The question will be, will the 66 and 24 follow suit and come in with them? And what about the 18 back there? Well, the 18, they're a lap down, so we won't talk about that, I guess. Oh no, that's Bruce Smith, is it?
Yeah, it's Bruce, and it's kind of bad for his luck too. And I think he went a lap down in the pits. Not sure what happened there, but during that pit cycle, something happened, and he ended up back there in ninth spot. Just like I don't know, it's hard to say with these pits and what happens in the pits. Here we go with the number 30 car and the number 2 car coming down into pit road. So it looks like those two are going to get together and hook back up, and that leaves Jason Martin out there up front.
Yeah, so we were saying earlier, these two are mates, and it looks like the number 2's definitely happy with the pace of the 30, and he's found himself a drafting partner. Just have to see how that works out for him.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully they come out of the pits together and they got everything coordinated. But let's see when Jason Martin and Daniel Stevens is going to come to pit. If they're going to come to pit this time by or next time, then they're going to bring Danny G with them, who's now currently running third.
So here comes Matt Danson, the number 2, just got out in front of him. But we'll see what the number 2 is going to do here, whether he's just going to let Matt go in front and use him as a towing partner. Meanwhile, we can see Jason Martin, they're going by once more, and they'll put a lap on the other 2, but of course that'll even out once they come down pit road.
Yeah, once they come down pit road, that'll even out depending on how they pit. But they're definitely going to catch them now. They're going to pit before they get behind them or what. But the 2 and the 30 they both look like they're straight, so I don't think it's going to matter who's out front, who tows who. But I mean, if that 30 car Matt Denson back there is going to help push Josh up front, and after the pit cycles cycle through, that'll be definitely teamwork.
I'm just watching them once more. They're still staying out here. I think Jason Martin's keen to try and put Josh Micklemore down a lap just in case a yellow comes out. They go high, Jason Martin low, and we can also see the 66 there, Daniel Stevens, getting by as well.
Yeah, it's a 24 car advantage. He's going to capitalize on that as well and put the 2 car lap down. But if there is a caution, that 2 car is going to be the first car in the lead first car lap down, so he'll get that lap back, and I think he's still got a hot rod to catch him. But these 2, they got to pit, so as long as the 30 car and the 2 car stick together and the 21 car, they're going to come in, no, they're going to stay out for one more time. How long can they go, Brad?
They were about 4 laps longer than the other 2 cars the last time around, as we might have just lost the 18 car there. I seen a puff of smoke come out of the back of it there.
It looks like he just blew it up. Oh, I'm sorry to laugh, but that was just a puff of white smoke, and off he goes. Sorry to hear his luck. Yeah, that stinks.
Which car was that one?
The 18 car of Bruce.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. He's on the infield.
Just as he were coming across the start-finish line out of the trial, puff of smoke came out of that, and looks like he just blew it.
Yeah, he's just got to keep it down below the yellow so he doesn't bring out a caution. No, he's taking it well and truly into the infield there and pulling it up. Probably trying to find a fire marshal in case that thing cooks itself.
Yeah, right. And it looks like the 2 and the 30 car are going to try and get their lap back here on the outside 30, but Matt's going to push Josh, trying to push him back up to the front. These guys, they've got to pit sooner or later, and if Josh and Matt have enough speed, they could catch them as they come back out of pit road, and you just cross your fingers and hope they slip up on pit road and capitalize on it.
Now, here's something I would wonder, being as that group of cars have all been running together as the 66 and the 24 peel off there for pit road. Being as a group running together for most of this race, are the other engines okay in these other cars?
It all depends on if like Bruce, if he taped up, we just run too much tape back there in the pack. But it looks like Josh got his lap back, and Jason has fallen in behind the 30 car and Matt. He's going to be all on his own when he does decide to pit, so I don't think that was a very good call on his part. But anything can happen. We've still got 19 laps to go.
Then again, we also don't know how much fuel is actually in that 21 car. Can it actually make it, baby? I do know this is definitely going to put him on a weird cycle with everybody else, and like you said, he may have that awkward opportunity where he comes out all by himself. I would hate to see that for such a strong running car today. This pit cycle may have just bit him a little bit as the 21 car assumes the lead.
Yeah, it could stink for him for sure. Daniel Stevens comes back out on the track by himself. 24 looks like he's going to pick up behind. No, he's not going to catch the draft of Jason. So looks like he's going to get stuck a lap down.
And that is quite unfortunate at the moment.
Yeah, as Matthew Raymond picks up the second spot with Riley Curtis, oh boy, right behind him, Mark Cohen fourth, with Daniel Stevens, who just came out of pit road. Looks like he's going to go a lap down in the 5th spot.
These green flag pit stops seem to really have shuffle our field here tonight. I'm not sure if it's due to just not being used to doing green flag stops, or if there are that many different strategies going on here tonight, Gary.
There could be some strategies going on. Fuel intake, tires. Again, Jason Martin, how much further can he go? He's got 17 laps to go, and I don't know if he can do it. I mean, me personally haven't had a chance to run it, but Josh Micklemore does seem to get back in the 2nd spot as he gets his lap back, but he is on the tail end of that lead lap, unfortunately for him.
Looking back here, Gary, he last pitted on lap 145. I would find it very hard to believe that he could do 55 to 60 laps on a tank of gas.
No, he's going to have to pit for sure. He's got to pit here within the next couple of laps or so, and I don't know why he's hanging on this long, because he's just going to lose time as it goes along. So he's got to come in here real quick before he runs out of gas.
And the thing is, when he does come in, it looks like he's going to come in by himself. And we've seen in the past that doesn't seem to affect them too much, but at this stage of the race, I don't think he'd be wanting to do that so much.
You wouldn't think so. I don't think I wouldn't. It's an 83 car. Looks like he's coming back on the back stretch after pitting, getting back up to speed. But yeah, that's when he does pit, that's going to leave Josh Micklemore the race win, as he'll have everybody a lap down if he gets back around before Jason gets back up to speed.
It looks like Steve Hoppett's rejoined. That's the open wheeler NASCAR in the background, but here comes Jason Martin into the pit, so let's see where he comes out. Went in a bit hot, 2 wheels onto the grass as he smoked it up a bit, so he's pretty keen to make a fast stop here.
Yeah, he got in just under the 60-mile-an-hour mark, and as he was locking him up and getting in, as he comes into his pit road or his pit stall.
I would think. Oh, he is going to take 2 tires, though. That surprises me. I would have thought that would splash and get the heck out of here kind of move.
I'm taking 4. He must. Oh man. Yep.
There he goes, and looking at that stop as Jason Martin comes out, it's still a fairly fast stop. It's around about 15.5 seconds compared to Josh Micklemore's 15.2, to 15.5 to Josh Micklemore.
Yeah, as Josh Micklemore comes into turn 1 right now, with the 30 car behind him, he could or could not catch, but it does look like Jason might be able to retain his lead.
Yeah,
if he does, he's the luckiest guy I've ever seen pull off a single car stop and retain the lead at Daytona.
Yeah, well, if he gets up to speed, by the time these guys catch him, he can just lead the train, basically. And how far out is he? 14 laps to do this and get this 21 home.
Yeah, and he's not that far ahead of Josh Micklemore and the 30 car of Matt, just 1.4 seconds. But those guys are hooked up. He does have the 777 car behind him of Dwayne Priest, but he's got damage, so I don't know if he's going to be able to push him too fast, as the Jason Micklemore and Matt seem to be catching him little by little. They do have 13 laps to do it.
Yes.
Oh, they're catching him quite a bit. They are coming hard and fast. It's going to be a big play on his part. Is he going to try to stay low, or is he going to try to get in these guys' way and keep that lead here as they come on? And nope, they're going to go right around the outside of him here as they come into the tri-oval to end lap 187.
Yeah, I was half expecting him to try to come up high just to take a bit of momentum out of that run that Josh and Matt had on him, but that wasn't the case. But now the 66 is also going to blow on by, and he's got the 24, Danny G, helping him along.
Yeah, we've got us a race now instead of a 2-car pileup. We've got we've got 7 cars that are possibly in the mix here. 51 car and a 93 are back there hooked up. But right now you've got Danny G, Daniel Stevenson, Jason Martin, and Josh Micklemore all within a second or two.
Yeah, it's definitely heating up down here. Jason Martin now is tucked in firmly behind the 30 and holding his position. But remember, the 30 isn't racing for position, but he is definitely doing a good job playing a rear gunner for that number 2.
Yes, he is, and he's pushed him up there, and I think he's going to try and keep him up there. He looked like he just jumped up in the front of the 66 cars. 66 and the 24 looked like they had a run. Here's a 21 on the inside all by himself, going 3 wide into turn. No, that was close.
And you see that move on the 66. He decided he was going to do the high line. At that point, they both moved up to take the run away from him. But now the 66 has got underneath the 30. 30 should be out of this about now. It's going to leave it down to these 3 to duke it out.
Yeah, with 10 laps to go, it's anybody's game with these top 3 guys here. It looks like Josh is already driving defensively and trying to keep the 66 behind him, but you know, he could get that 24 car. We've seen the 24 car in Xfinity just kind of sneak out there and pull a win out of it, so don't count him out yet.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear from the viewers in our chat channel. Who do you think is going to win this race? It's down to 4 cars at the moment. The 21 has faded a bit, but look at Danny G looking at going 3 wide here with the 66 and the 2 as they come back on the tri-oval. 9 laps to go.
As he pushes the 66 out in front for the lead, 66 takes the lead with the 24 coming in second, and Josh holding third. Sorry.
That's all right.
No, I really think that any one of these cars in this league could very well win this. I'm very, very hopeful that we don't see any of these cars get wadded up, though, because they are putting on a great show for us here right now. Personally, I think the 30 car is not out of this question yet as far as being a helper with the winner. I think that 2 and the 30 could possibly team up and go right for that lead coming in here to 8 laps to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the 66 and the 24 team up, because these two are used to racing against each other as well. And be interesting to see what they've got here. Riding at the moment with Danny G. You can just see the number 2 on the high line, just in the corner of your picture there, folks.
Yeah, as the 30 and the 2 hook up, they've proven before just a few laps ago that they can get a run and they can get going. So yeah, it could be a good battle to the win here as we got 192 on the books.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if the 21 can get back on them. He's just sitting in there in the background. What do you reckon, Gary? Do you reckon he can get back onto him?
Yeah, he can if he gets the right hole. Looks like he's tucked up behind the 30 car. The 30 car is no slouch right now, so it does look like Jason can get back into it. But it's anybody's game is right now. Daniel Stevenson's been pulling these guys along, coming up to lap traffic, and it looks like Mark Cohn might be going a lap down here in a second. Let's hope not. With Riley Curtis right behind him. As Riley Curtis gets past, these guys move off to the outside. Let the leaders go by. And some good runs. We got 3 wide, and they back out and get down double wide.
One thing to bear in mind here as well, guys, is the 66 and 24. They're both from Team MFR, so they'll definitely be working together. Josh and the number 30, they're also allied, so they'll be working together. And the 21, well, looks like he's going to dance with whoever he can find.
I think that's what he's doing. He's trying to dance with whoever he can get up and dance with. Now Mark Cohn looks like he's trying to catch that pack. Might capitalize if a yellow comes out with these guys getting too close. Hopefully they don't call out a big one right here as we come to the end with just less than 6 laps to go.
Yeah, and when it comes down to this stage of the race, I mean, you're going to help your teammates out as much as you can. That white flag goes in the air, all bets are off. These guys are no longer teammates. They're all going to go for that win. I think you know that as well as I do, Gary.
Yeah, as the 30 car is trying to pull the 2 car up to the lead on the outside here as they cross start-finish line with 5 to go. Bernie?
Yeah, have a look in the background here though, folks. The number 51, Mark Cohen, he's got onto the back of this pack and he's coming hard. So don't write him off at the moment. 5 laps to go. What does Mark have up his sleeve?
Well, Mark, hopefully he can just be the recipient of a lucky dog if these guys decide to wreck each other, which it doesn't look like they're going to do. They've been a class act for 490 miles and they ain't got that many more to go. So I think Mark's just going to try and get in behind these guys and ride it for all it's worth. Can't say that it hasn't been nothing but a stellar effort for that guy, coming in late, getting the setup, working on it for a couple of minutes and holding his own. So we'll see what happens here with just 4 to go. Right? Yeah,
my bad. I didn't realise Mark was a lap down, so that took the wind out of my sails. But at the moment, the 66, 24. Here comes a 24 looking on the outside. What's he doing? No, he tucks back in. And, 5 to go.
One thing, even though Mark is a lap down, he may be the 21 saving grace. He may give him somebody to work with when it does come down to the final laps with the 2 teams going at it with him.
Well, Jason seemed to manage to get himself in the 3rd position up there behind Danny G. And Danny G is going to be looking for the outside here in the next couple laps. It is going to get turned on right here. The 24 car of Danny G going to be looking to pass Daniel Stevens anytime now. Even though they're teammates, like you said, all bets are off. You got Jason Martin. He might capitalize off these 2 trying to fight with a big hole being punched in the air. You've got the 30 car of Matt Denson pulling his teammate Josh Mecklemore along. Anything can happen on here with a lap car. You've got 2 lap cars in the mix of this thing, and it could be good interesting.
I think if I were the 66 right now, judging by what I've seen the entire race, I would not leave that yellow line for anything at this moment. I would keep that thing planted on it and make him go around.
Yeah, with just 2 to go, these guys are getting close. They're getting dicey. The 30 car is getting up in there. It looks like he's trying to pull a side draft off the 21 car. 2 cars trying to pull up behind him, and looks like Danny G's looking to the outside and doesn't do it as they go into turn 3 out of the back stretch at 201 miles per hour.
Yeah, and that 30 still on the high line there. He's trying to pull the 2 up, but the 2's just dropping back off these at the moment, and it's coming down to still a 4-horse race, but I reckon Danny G's looking pretty good for a win here.
Yeah, lap 199 of 200 to go. This could be anybody's game right here. Is anybody going to step out? Is anybody going to do anything they shouldn't do? Bernie, this is your show. You want to call the last lap?
Yeah, the overlays are saying here we've got 2 laps to go. So I don't know if this is the last lap or not, but at the moment we've got the 66 coming up the back straight with the 24, and Danny G, he's looking at going back-to-back here at Daytona this week, folks. And I tell you what, if he can do that, he'll be one happy man. 21 now, just dropping off a little bit on the background, coming down between the 66 and the 24, you guys, onto the tri-oval. Is this the last lap, or do we have one more lap to go? That's a question.
This is lap 200 right here, so I think this is the white flag lap, Bernie.
Yep, this is definitely the white lap. So we can see now the number 2 starting to get a drag on the number 30 here, trying to get on by past the 21 on the high line. What are they going to do? They are running high. They're jostling now. Reminds me of the cycling and the sprint to the finish. But at the moment, the 66 is leading the 24 as they come into turn 3 here. Turn 4. What have the guys got left in their tanks? Not much, I don't think, because it looks like the 66 is going to carry him across the tri-oval. And 66, 24, and the 21 up on the high line now as they come to the line. 66 takes it, 24 second, and the 21 of Jason Martin finishes 3rd.
With Josh Mecklemore coming in 4th, David Webb coming in 5th, and Mark Cohen 1 lap down, rounding out top 6, with Riley Curtis coming in 7th, Matthew Raymond 8th. Hell of a finish for him with a beat-up car. The 27 of Daniel O'Brien 9th, and top 10 with Thomas Hintz we didn't hear a whole lot of out tonight. He just out there running circles. Got a top 10 for him. What do you say, Brad?
I would say that final lap was probably the most tame final lap at Daytona I've ever seen in sim racing. I was fully expecting somebody to even try a bumper or try anything, but they kept it very civil. So hats off to everybody involved with that. That was a very, very clean race.
We'll have to get with Roger and see if those were team orders to not wreckers or checkers. So very good effort put towards those top 4 cars with the lead lap car in there. Just a stellar race, stellar finish, and very clean. I am most impressed.
You can see the winner now, the number 66, getting the checkered flag, and that is Daniel Stevens. Tell you what, Team MFR are very happy with their 2 guys, and the teamwork they showed with those final laps to bring them home 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a shame Roger couldn't be in there with the mixed of them. He had luck. He had bad luck in the Xfinity race, and Lady Luck bit him again tonight. But he tried to hang on as much as he could, but just didn't sit well.
Yeah, and the viewers look like they've enjoyed tonight's race. They're still discussing it in the chat room, but you can see the 66 there parked up on the start-finish line. Hopefully we'll be able to get him in. He's waiting, so we might cross to him, guys. Do you want to have a chat with him, Gary or Brad?
Yeah, let's see if he's up for a chat right now. It's been a long race.
Hey Daniel, how are you feeling?
Dude, I'm pretty well pumped. I'm shaking like a bloody leaf in winter time at the moment because this is my first ever race I've won on iRacing since I've been in it for like 3 years.
Well, congratulations, and you kept yourself up front. You kept yourself in position, and that last cycle of pit stops was. We were boggled. I don't know if any of the viewers were able to keep up or catch up or be able to even predict that you were going to win. But that last cycle of pit stops, it looked like it wasn't even anywhere near your cards. And, man, you pulled that out, and you got around Josh being pulled by his teammate, Matt. And from that point on, man, you were looking in your mirror trying to protect your line. I can only imagine what was going through your head.
Well, to be quite honest, mate, when me and Danny pulled into the pits, we were just going to do the old splash and dash, and I was running litres and he was running gallons, and so I couldn't figure out what he needed to do for the same as me. And so I said to him, just go when I go, and he couldn't go. And when I took off, I had to wait for him to catch up to me, otherwise I would have been left in the dust and he would have been left as well. So I waited and waited and waited, and although they got past us, our cars were fast enough, thanks to Roger and his mean setup, we managed to catch up to them and pass them again and hang on to it.
Yeah, it was weird. You had Jason was running with where'd he go? Jason was out there running, and then Josh and Matt passed them, and then here you and Danny come just right up there. Man, I'm so excited for you. Not to count you out, but you were up there up front, but the last row of pit stops did not look like you were in the cards for it. So congratulations, hell of a race. You guys are a class act for sure.
Cheers, Gary. Appreciate it.
Hey Daniel, I got one question for you. When you came across the stripe, I know it was your teammate behind you. Did you have any idea if they were going to try to make a move on you or not?
We actually thought the number 30. I thought it was either that car that was let down, or was the. I thought it was Martin was actually going to make a move on us, but I didn't think he had the legs to get past.
Yeah, the 30 car was a lap down, but he was pulling his teammate Josh up through, but Danny G was right behind you. Did you think at any point that Danny was going to try and pull this lead, because he'd already pulled one win out this week with the Xfinity race?
Nah, man. I think he said pretty much from 10 laps to go, he said that he's just going to push me through. He wasn't going to try and get past. He was going to do what he could to get me over that line, which is I take my hat off to him to do that. He won on Thursday night, but I think he's going to give a win to his teammate as well, which is bloody awesome of him.
I've been the recipient of that. My teammate did the same thing to me. After many years of not winning the Daytona 500, my teammate Brad pushed me across start finish line some years ago, and yeah, what an exciting finish that was. He didn't try to. He just said, "Dude, you're winning this one," and across we went. It was a great feeling.
Oh yeah, it's a real good feeling. I guarantee it, mate. I guarantee it.
Well, congratulations, and we'll let you continue the celebration. And again, man, class act. I've been doing this since '95, and it's a long time, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching this race. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Gary. Thank you.
Before we let you go, though, Danny, you got any sponsors you would like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, mate. Some huge sponsors. We got first off, Middle Finger Racing, the Tenor Race Four, is a class act guys. You know, the whole bunch of them. AutoKings.com, RacingLeagues.com, West End Mazda, and WP Concretine. Couldn't do it without all these guys.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure they're all waiting to shake your hand as you go down onto unleash that champagne and celebrate with your teammate.
Oh, mate, there'll be no champagne drinking right now. I've got to jump into the GT3s right now.
That's right. That's coming up at 7:50 p.m., isn't it?
It sure is, mate.
It's going to be close. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you there tonight.
Done deal, buddy. See you then.
Good luck.
Oh, just one last thing is I'd just like to thank RRTV as well. Bernie, you guys do a great job.
Yeah, well, we were very lucky to have Brad and Gary here tonight, and it's absolutely awesome having those two here. Think Gary and Brad, you guys make this broadcast, so thanks for joining us as well.
We were invited, and I know we had a blast. I can speak for Brad on this. This has been pretty exciting for us, even though we were out there racing. This is close for now. We'll go off on our own in our little corner, and we'll run around a circle. Like, yeah, look what we can do. Look what we can do. But yeah, Bernie, you put on a hell of a show here. Definitely, glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure, Bernie. This wouldn't have been possible without you guys at least giving us the nod. I am greatly appreciative of. A little bit of jealous of these guys. I would have loved to have been out there with them, but it was just as good being here in the broadcast booth watching these guys, because that was one hell of a race.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, Danny, thanks for joining us. We'll go and speak to your teammate, Danny G, next, and we'll just have a quick chat with the podium, I think, tonight, folks.
Roger that.
Take care, Dan.
Yeah, so coming home in second was Danny G, as I call him, because as you can see, what's going on here? We've got pictures. Thank goodness. I thought something had crashed on us here. I'll have a chat with Danny G. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the RRTV comm box, mate. Tell you what, you're tucked right up underneath the 66, and I was wondering if you're going to have a go at him or not.
Yeah, cheers, guys. No. I was going to play good teammate and make sure we win that one.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it was a great team effort, and tell you what, that 30 was trying to tow the 2 up there, but Middle Finger Racing kept them out, and a 1-2 victory. Fantastic, and I'll hand you over now to Gary.
Cheers. Yeah, coming off your Xfinity win, congratulations on that, and congratulations on the second place here. I know it's the first loser, but you got to feel good for MFR and for Danny. It's an awesome thing what you did to stick behind him and push him through. I know what that feeling's like. My teammate here did that to me some years ago, and it's a feeling to do that, get pushed across, and so hopefully someday I can return it for him. But you guys ran a good race, man. It was anybody's calling it last pit stop, but man, you guys are definitely a class act. Like I was telling Danny, it's just impressive to watch.
Yeah, it was. It was an awesome race. I mean, sort of towards the end there, we thought we had something for them, and we didn't think they could get to us on the outside with that 30 car being on the high side. And I just kept trying to push on the inside, and on that last lap, the dials were all flashing red at me, and I'm like, I'm not going to lift now. We've got this one.
You saying that the dials were flashing red, I'm guessing you guys put a little bit of extra tape on there to try to get her a little bit more speed?
Yeah, I started on 50 and ended on 55. I think I did that about mid-race. I was really happy the way she sucked up and the way it was running, so I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, you guys were running pretty good times, and there was a pack of 4 there as far as lead cars, and then you had the 30 car in there. So you had pretty much a pack of 5 cars. How was that outside line working for you guys? I know you could get it going, and then it would die out. Then you get it going, and it would die out. And it was weird how that was working. What was going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. It is frustrating. You seem to you gain a lot down the straights and lose a lot in the corners. And so every now and again you can sort of push out into the lead, but you got a teammate pushing you behind, and you don't want to leave him up on the outside line by himself. You sort of want both of you to get clear. And that's sort of the game you have to play, I guess.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to run this track and race situation, so I'm using this for knowledge if I ever do get to do it. But again, congratulations on a second place finish, pushing your teammate through. Good run for MFR. It kind of sucks for Roger, but I'm pretty sure you guys will celebrate nonetheless.
Yeah, I'd say we will be. We did this sweep Monday, Thursday, and today. It's great.
Awesome racing, awesome watching you guys. Thank you.
Easy, thank you.
So our final interview for tonight, folks, will be with Jason Martin in the number 21, and bring him up and have a quick chat. Did you want to have a chat with him, Brad?
Absolutely. Hey, Jason, welcome back to the booth here. Great run for you and your team, a third-place finish out of tonight. What was going on in your head there with the 30 car and you working together there? Oh, I apologize. I got the wrong car.
Yeah, I didn't have any teammates, so I didn't know who to work with. So I was just trying to choose who was going fastest, and then I'd follow them.
At one point, it seemed like you had it sewed up. How many laps were you getting on a tank? Because you were able to hold it out longer, and then you ended up going in by yourself, coming back out, and Josh and Matt were able to just freight train you as they had the momentum on the high side, and then you just went back from there. I know you were looking for somebody to run with, but how are you able to go so long on the fuel?
I filled it up every single pit stop until the last one. Maybe the others put in a bit less, I don't know.
Yeah, you seem to run that one a little bit longer. 48 laps it looked like, somewhere around there. But yeah, that had to have been exciting to be out there and hold these guys. And at one point, you were just about to lap Josh, being the only car on the lead lap.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd get a yellow then.
You had a pretty good hot rod. So what are your thoughts going into the next race?
Well, I'm happy to have Daytona out of the way. I always struggle there, so good to finally get a good result, and looking forward to the next few tracks.
Well, I think finishing third is no slouch at 500 miles. I mean, you guys just raced for 4 hours, 200 laps. You ended up with a third. No, it's not the win, but you got to be happy with the finish with the 500 miles. How many 100% races have you run since you've been sim racing?
I think that might be my first or second. I don't normally do the long ones, especially not at Daytona and Talladega.
So you got to be really proud of yourself and what you've accomplished, and take that momentum and head to the next race, man, and just whoop up on them.
Yep, real happy to finally get a good result at Daytona.
Well, I tell you, it was a pleasure watching you guys get out there and race, and some of the cleanest racing I've seen. So kudos to you and everybody else on that track. Brad?
Jason, is there anybody you'd like to thank or sponsors you'd like to mention for tonight's finish?
No, mate, I don't have any sponsors, so just like to thank RRTV for the broadcast, and you guys for jumping in and commentating.
Well, if anybody's out there in YouTube land, Jason could use some help.
For sure. You get your name on that car. Obviously, it can place well. Get you some good advertisement.
Yeah, it's probably the best return on investment any business could make, because unlike TV, once he gets that car up and on the tally on YouTube, it's there forever. So, yeah, definitely chase Jason up, mate. Anyway, Jason, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on third. Can you let the guys up top know that we won't be doing any more interviews tonight?
Yep, okay, thanks, mate. I'll let them know.
Cheers, buddy. So, guys, that's the Daytona 500 run and won. Before we wrap this up, Gary and Brad, do you guys have any final thoughts on what you've seen tonight?
Just one word, impressed. I am impressed. Just totally impressed with the class of the field. I didn't see any bonehead moves. I didn't see any high tempers or any big mistakes. I saw guys trying to get out of the way and getting out of the way too much, and but no bonehead moves. It was great to watch. I'm really impressed, and I look forward to the next broadcast that you do for ANZCAR, and hopefully we're around to either help commentate you or be in the car as a in-car reporter.
I would honestly have to say myself, I'm right there with him. I am truly impressed and honored to have been part of that Daytona 500. That race, I mean, honestly, some of the moves that these guys were making, you would swear you were watching the actual thing. They were very respectful of each other's space. The incidents that did happen, I think they were just general racing incidents that just things happen. I really didn't see anybody making moves that were uncalled for. It was very, very methodical, well done racing, and I got to give my hats off to the entire ANZCAR community here. That was a very good race.
Yeah, the standard of driving was definitely up there, that's for sure. And before we go, though, we should go through the final results so the viewers can see where their favourite driver finished tonight. So well done to the 66. Daniel Stevens takes the win. Danny G, his teammate, comes in a close second. Jason Martin, third. Josh Mickelmore in the number 2 comes home in fourth. David Webb in the number 12 finishes fifth. Mark Cohen, he's classified in sixth position. Seventh was Riley Curtis. And then we had Matthew Raymond in the 83 classified in eighth. Ninth, Darren O'Brien. 10th was Thomas Hins. Looking further, wrong button. That's the button we want. Looking further back, the 98 of Stephen Williams came home in 11th, 3 laps down. Dwayne Priest in the 777 comes home 12th. 13th tonight was Norman Clark. Then Phil Otto in the number 7 is finished in 14th. 23 laps down, the number 18, Bruce Smith, is classified 15th. Roger Clark, 16th. Darren McKenzie, 17th. 18th, Matt Clowett. 19th, Steve Hoppett. He said he was going to finish. He did. And Matt Danson was classified in 20th position. 21st, Shannon Mason. 22nd, Dave Douglas. Classified 23rd was Tony Brent. 24th, Edward Foster. 25th, Jason Nicholas. Sam DeVentia, 26th. And, of course, you got classified there, Gary. Well done. You finished in 27th.
I don't know what happened, but for some reason, when I went to spectate, iRacing put me in as a driver. I literally clicked on spectate, and when I came in, I thought I was spectating until I couldn't see who was qualifying, and I'm like, the heck? Why am I on the list?
There you go. Well, we'd go to post-race interviews with you, but it seemed like your race was fairly uneventful anyway.
Yeah.
See, he was trying to sneak it in there right at the end. I knew he wanted to run this race.
Yeah, never say die. That's the word. But anyway, folks, thanks for joining us wherever you are in the world and wherever you're watching us. I hope you've really enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, give us a thumbs up and let your friends know if they're into NASCAR racing. We'll be back in 4 weeks for the next Cup race, or next Thursday night if you want to have some Xfinity action. But stay with us a bit later on tonight at 7:50 p.m. I'll be back to call the racingleagues.com GT3 Sprint Series, and that's going to be an awesome race. But until then, I'd like to thank both Brad and Gary for joining me in the Combox. It's been awesome, guys, and you can both finally get some sleep.
Thanks for having us, Bernie. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anytime.
Fantastic. And once again, thanks to the viewers. On behalf of Gary, Brad, I'm Bernie, and you've been watching RR TV. Good night.
Cheers.